Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
I love Dan Patrick. Oh, my God. He's one of my favorites.
Bringing you the biggest stories.
The Danettes, they have had discussions here of who has the biggest head.
And heads.
Where do you think Ross Tucker ranks?
He's the Michael Jordan of big
Whoa.
heads. It's not even really that close.
Okay.
I got to go with Ross.
Oh, yeah, it's Ross.
Yeah, I got to go with Ross.
Okay. All right.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave.
Your neck to head ratio in life is very important. So I lift my neck multiple times a week just so I don't look like a bobblehead when I'm on with you.
This is Dan Patrick.
Welcome to the program. It's hour one on this Wednesday. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. We are busy. We're packed. Commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, will join us in an hour. Head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers, Jeremy Pruitt, will join us. Former defensive coordinator at Alabama. His athletic director, Philip Fulmer, plans on having 100,000 fans showing up for the games in the fall. Marv Albert, NBA on TNT, calls games, has called games for decades, not calling games in the bubble in Orlando. Marv will join us coming up in the final hour of the show. You'd like to get in touch with the program, you can a variety of ways. You can dial us up, you can email, you can tweet, you can watch on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show and listen on the great radio affiliates we have around the country. I'm not sure if baseball reporting to camp today should be called Spring Training 2. Teams are at their home facilities, not in Florida or Arizona, and there's not the optimism and fun we associate with spring training this time around. You got a lot of nervous people. Players, coaches, managers, staff, employees. Major League Baseball's already started comprehensive testing, and some players have decided that they're just not coming back. They're not going to run the risk. They have a lot of work, and there are new rules. You got to figure out rotations, 60-game sprint. Managers have to pay close attention to the bottom of their rosters. Depth's going to be more important than ever. The last couple of months, we've been speaking theoretically about the return of team sports, and now it's here. We're going to see if the safety guidelines are going to work in real life because these players are not going to be in a bubble. They're going to go to the ballpark and go home. At least you hope that they go to the ballpark and then they come home. But we're going to see if they're playing baseball by the time the calendar reaches July 23rd. If I would have told you back in March, mid-March, when everything got shut down, we might have sports back in July, late July. We might. Your reaction would have been probably the same as mine. Oh, we got time. We can figure this out. We were a whole lot different back then in mid-March. We were a whole lot more naive with all of this. And now I think we're conditioned to look at this and go, there's a chance that this won't work out with the NBA. There is a chance that Major League Baseball won't get to the fall. And there is a chance in the fall that the NFL and or college football doesn't go as scripted. And we should be prepared for that. We were all shocked. We've been surprised. We've been disappointed. But we've also been hopeful. Now the reality starts to set in. It's like when you're going to have a test in school and you know that you got 3 weeks to get ready for it, 4 weeks to get, oh, that's not even real, not even thinking about anything. And then all of a sudden you get to the night before the test and you go, oh my God, I'm not ready. I should have prepared a little bit more. Not that I'm speaking of firsthand knowledge, but that's what it feels like. We kept putting things off. Oh, we got time. The NFL has time. College football has time. They don't have time. This is happening right in front of us in real time and trying to adjust to this. And I know I'm Doomsday Danny, but I approach this from a realistic, logical perspective. That's all. Just applying logic. Because I can hope, pray, wish, want, doesn't matter. And the same with these commissioners. It doesn't matter. And you have players who are voicing concerns. and rightfully so. What happens when the baseball player tests positive? You had the general manager of the New York Yankees, Brian Cashman, said, we can't say who tests positive. If you go on the injured, like what is the designation going to be? Illness? Because you can say flu, but, you know, these players are saying, hey, you know what? There's privacy laws here. People are going to be betting on these baseball games. They're going to want to know, is this player out for how long? And is he injured? Is he sick? Does he have the virus? And I understand the privacy portion of this. I do. But it's going to be difficult for teams to have a designation for a player who tests positive. And Brian Cashman admitted to that. He goes, we can't. But we'll talk to the commissioner about that in an hour. Like, what is the designation going to be? Bryce Harper is not playing today because Bryce Harper is not playing for the next 2 weeks. Then we'll know. But I'm not reporting that, by the way. I'm just using that as a what-if scenario. Sorry, McLovin. I didn't mean to.
He's all yelling.
I know.
I was actually just wondering, like, what is the manager going to say after the game when 10 guys are like, where was Bryce Harper tonight?
I don't know what you can say unless you have to say to the player, you know, you handle this. I'm trying to protect you. You have a press conference because I can't lie for you. This program is brought to you by LegalZoom. Need to make it legal, make it LegalZoom.com. We're all faced with new challenges these days. If you need legal help, it's there for you. You can start online, network of independent attorneys, and they can provide advice when you need it. And since LegalZoom isn't a law firm, you don't have to leave your home. Visit LegalZoom.com today for more information. McLevin, you got a poll question for me today.
Yeah, we have different versions of really where the seasons stand. Here, Paulie asked, which is more likely, MLB and NBA both complete their seasons or MLB and NBA both do not complete their seasons? If you had to bet with both of them, if you put them in the same boat together.
So you have to have them both together. I can't pick and choose and say the NBA will work out and baseball won't.
Right, it's a more likely. Unless, I mean, is that how you feel? That the NBA is more like? That's the other question. Which is a better system, the bubble or the home markets? Which is a safer system to get through this?
I'm going to say the bubble. Feels like the NBA has been working on this collectively, while baseball, the players and owners, have been working maybe to get to this point, but they've been at a distance here. But if you look at the commissioner with what he's done, once you get in the bubble, you're going to be a whole lot more protected than you are with these players playing baseball, and you have more freedom there. You're going to be coming and going. You know, teams could do bed checks in Orlando, like the old days. Yes, McLovin.
But it is in Florida, so the whole bubble story changed a little bit because of the spike in cases. I feel like 2 weeks ago, there was an anti-bubble movement being like, well, you know what? You're going to get everyone together, and it's going to be a bit of a higher risk. But now, today, you're right, I agree.
This is what happens when reality starts to set in. The bubble. Oh, we got time. We're going to be going to Florida, going to Disney World, and, they didn't think about it because there's no reason to think about it then. Now you're thinking about it. Now you see some of these players, can the Nets field a team to go to Orlando? Will players want to go? Now the reality starts to set in. Before, everybody wants to be a good team player. Everybody wants to say the right thing. Now you're getting players who are actually speaking their minds, what they really feel. And that is, you may not like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it. And you're starting to see more and more of these athletes voice concerns, and rightfully so. What other poll questions do you have?
Okay, this is actually going back to March bet with me and Paulie. Does the NFL season start on time? We bet a steak dinner about this because I was a cynic back in March saying, I don't think it's going to start on time. And now I know you have a little inside knowledge on here, so we're not going to let you in the bet. But if that was the poll, what do you think people say?
No, the only information I got was somebody saying just look at the schedule and can they take those first 4 weeks and then put them on the back end of the schedule. That was all that was pointed out to me is the NFL has to have contingency plans. I don't know if we're any better by starting a month later in the NFL. I truly don't know. You know, college football, I don't know if we're any better if we start a month later. I don't know if we're any better if we start in spring, like the Ivy League is talking about this. I just have my doubts with this because I think it's a house of cards. I think the NBA is a house of cards. I think baseball is a house of cards. You pull out one card and it all comes crashing down. And I think it's that tenuous. I know that there's going to be collateral damage here. You're going to have people who test positive. Some may get sick. Some of the older people in organizations, coaches, GMs, they could be at risk, will be at risk. Marv Albert is not going to Orlando because of his age. I don't know how many other people are going to be put in a position that's going to be uncomfortable for them, but they're still going to go. Older coaches are going to go. I'm giving the NFL a little more credit than they probably deserve because a source told me yesterday this could end very badly. That was the text. Because I said, what kind of concerns do you have? This could end very badly. And that is, it gets shut down. Hate to think that, but that's the reality. We weren't thinking of this in March or April or May. Here we are in July, and we have to think about it. And that's the key with this. We have to think about it instead of let's push it off. You can't push it off any longer. Remember the NBA, the commissioner, who I have great respect for, Adam Silver, very smart guy. Late March, he said, we're looking at maybe May 1st, May 8th. He was on the jump with Rachel Nichols. And I said, don't do that. Don't put out these dates. Because everybody thinking, NBA's coming back. And here we are, a long way away from May 1st or May 8th. And then he went radio silent for about 3 weeks. And I go, great. I don't want to hear from you. Then they announced the bubble. Major League Baseball, do they really want to play? This is about, and I know that these commissioners, including Commissioner Adam Silver, said this isn't about dollars and cents. Well, it's about dollars. It's, maybe not about cents. It's spelling cents in a different way. It is about money. That's what this is about. Let's not kid anybody. It's about money. We'll plow through it. There's going to be collateral damage, and hopefully we get a World Series here. Hopefully we get an NBA championship here. And I think you have to have trepidation here. And I certainly do. If it happens, I'll be the first to say, hey, I overreacted. I haven't overreacted since the middle of March. Nobody can accuse me of overreacting. Back then, people did. Nobody's doing that now. Because you have to be realistic with this. You can't just wish things to go away. Yeah, Paul.
The NBA bubble, the way you talk about it, how in the distance it's no big deal, and now it's coming up. Remember when you got engaged, and you're like, you got engaged, and then you go look at a few venues. It's a year away. Let's plan the honeymoon. Let's get that stuff. And then you start going to meetings about flowers and about table settings and about names, and then it's 6 weeks away, and yeah, you still want to get married, of course, but you're like, this is it. It's happening.
And then your palms start to get a little sweatier, get a little nervous here. How am I going to pay for this?
The bachelor party goes 3 days instead of 2. It gets a little messy, it gets a little sloppy.
Yeah, Todd.
Have they had specific conversations because they already had trouble with the vague legalese with baseball early on in March? What happens to the players if they start the season and they stop in the middle? How do these players get paid just what the games they played? Do they get a portion of the games that they thought they were going to play? I wonder if that's
I think you get paid for what you play in. I think that's it. There are owners, and I'm going to ask the commissioner. I don't know if he'll answer it, but how many owners didn't want this season to resume? What I was told, and I firmly believe it, and I told you this a couple of weeks ago, that a source said the commissioner knew exactly what he was doing with all of this. in the number of games that the owners were willing to accept, and he wasn't budging. And, had the Players Association, they kept coming back. They started at, 114? And then all of a sudden they're working their way back and then go, okay, we'll take 75. The commissioner didn't budge because from what I was told, the owner said, this is what we will accept. We know we're going to lose money. We want to get postseason money because that's mostly our money. And can we get the regular season out of the way to get into the postseason? And what's the fewest games we can do it? And they came up with 60. And you saw those last couple of weeks, commissioner didn't budge. He knew exactly what he was doing. To me, all scripted. But you can't script what's going to happen when the season starts. As much as they're going to try. Kevin in Boston joins us. Hi, Kevin. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Dan. How you doing?
Good, sir.
6'3" and deceptively fast, 265.
All right.
I was just wondering because I woke up with Korean baseball this morning, and I was wondering what your thoughts were on if the MLB should do some around-the-clock scheduling and have games go from 9 in the morning to start at 10 o'clock at night.
Well, I'm thinking afternoon games. Thank you, Kevin. And I don't know what the commissioner has schedule-wise, but I mentioned this with the NBA with the bubble. If you started games in the afternoon and then you could let the West Coast teams play in a West Coast time slot so you could make sure you're playing in front of your fans, but having 3 or 4 NBA games in the afternoon to the evening, and then you want to have the Lakers or the Clippers, the Rockets, marquee team from the West Coast there, I think it would be great. I don't know what baseball has planned here. How many afternoon games? If there's no fans, then, and I know you're going to get good revenue, or you're going to get good TV ratings here. I don't know how important that is. You want to be fair to your broadcast partners here, but can you have afternoon games? How many afternoon games can you have? Does that even matter? Yeah, McLevin.
I'm looking at the first few NBA games came out, and the first night is Jazz Pelicans and Clippers Lakers at night. Then the next day, Magic Nets at 2:30 p.m. Are you tuning in for that?
Yes.
Then 4 o'clock, Suns Wizards.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, get out of here. You're crazy.
McLevin, how long have you known me?
This is built for
No,
Dan
I know.
Patrick.
I'm actually saying you're crazy because you will watch that.
Yeah,
But
this is my schedule right here.
they're totally burying the dogs in the afternoon.
Well, it's like watching Maryland football at noon.
Yeah. A little Indiana action,
Yeah.
Indiana football.
Yeah, like Maction on a Tuesday night. Yeah, I'm all for this. We'll get to phone calls here coming up. We have a busy schedule. The commissioner at the top of next hour. But Jeremy Pruitt, the Tennessee head coach, I don't know what kind of safety guidelines they have at Tennessee. I don't know how many players have tested positive. I do know, though, Clemson, Alabama, and LSU have had quite a few. And we'll talk to Jeremy Pruitt. Marv Albert will tell us why he finally decided that he wasn't going to go to Orlando to broadcast the games in the bubble. 877-3DP Show, email address, dp@danpatrick.com. Coming up on 19 after the hour. Glad you're part of the program. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. Simply Safe Home Security says it all right there in the name. Can't say enough good things about Simply Safe. You order online, click of a button, then the box comes to your place of business or your home. Open the box, place the sensors, you plug it in, and there you go. You're protected 24/7. Professional monitoring, emergency dispatch. It starts at 50 cents a day. Simply Safe was named Best Overall Home Security of 2020. Simply Safe has spent a decade fighting against the type of security systems that you have where they lock you in. Contracts to sign. You don't have to do that. No contracts to sign, no hidden fees, none of that. And you don't have to bring in somebody. So in these troubling times of having somebody come in, you can't have somebody come in, don't want somebody to visit your house, an electrician. You don't need to do that. You're going to do it all. Head to simplysafedan.com, get free shipping and a 60-day money-back guarantee. simplysafedan.com, and make sure you tell them we sent you. How important was basketball to you growing up?
It was everything. It was my all. Like I said, I kind of grew up different than your typical basketball player. Like, even though I lived in Chicago, I was always outside. I didn't have time I didn't want to sit in front of the TV all day. I didn't know what time the Bulls games came on. I heard this player, Michael Jordan, everybody loved, but at that time, I wasn't 6'6", I wasn't 6 feet. You know what I mean? Like our games wasn't similar, so I really didn't look up to him like that, because I was always outside just working on my game, and it ended up paying off for me. Where I think I put in the right time, the right time or right hours to get to where I'm at.
Wait, so you didn't really understand the fascination with Jordan because you didn't play the game the way he did? Or?
No, I was saying it to say, kids now, they know about, contracts, about star players, about just the NBA because it's a global game. When I grew up, I didn't know. I knew that we were winning championships, but I wasn't able to celebrate that because I was too young to go outside to celebrate with the people that were running on the streets after a championship. So they'll win a championship, my brothers and them outside, and I have to sit in the house and look from the window and see everybody on the street celebrating. So I didn't feel that growing up. You know what I mean? It was kind of different. So growing up, I didn't know that you could really get paid for basketball until my freshman or sophomore year in high school. And around that time, that's when kids were going out of high school a lot. And I'm like, man, okay, I think I could actually take care of my family off this now. And that's when I started taking it serious my freshman and sophomore year. It came from a comment from my brother. My brother, Alan, he was in the room, and I'm honestly speaking, he was in the room, and he was chopping up some drugs, and he was talking to me just honestly, and this was the first time I heard him give me a compliment about just a good compliment about how I played and don't mess it up. And I took that compliment and ran with it because he always showed me tough love.
But wait, and, it's a mixed message here. He's chopping up drugs and telling you he's proud of your game.
Yeah, I mean, this is the environment I grew up in. I'm just telling you what I grew up in.
Yeah. No, I can only imagine what you grew up in, but you never felt you felt like you were safe in that neighborhood. Now, did they protect you because you were good at basketball?
Yeah, and I wasn't that kid. I wasn't a bad kid at all. I was in the house at the right time. The street lights came on. I was in the house. If I was on the court late at night, my mom would walk up to the court and wait till I get done playing, then we'll walk back home together. That's the type of neighborhood I grew up in. Everybody knew that, I had goals. And the crazy thing about it, I made it. I executed everything I wanted to do. I've been having these same type of expectations and burdens on me since I was in sixth grade. People looked at me to get to where I'm at right now since I was in sixth grade in Chicago.
This program brought to you by the great folks at Mercedes-AMG. Be prepared for whatever comes your way. It's the all-new GT 4-door coupe. Life's a race. Visit your local dealership for a test drive today. If you missed any of our interviews this week or any week from the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, go to the Dan Patrick Show app where you can watch and listen from inside the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave. Mercedes-AMG driving performance, starting his third season at the University of Tennessee. Head coach, he's Jeremy Pruitt, who joins us on the program. Good morning, Coach. How's morale?
Yeah, everything's great. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. You guys got in the news. Well, you've been in the news for a couple of reasons. Another great recruiting class. But Philip Fulmer says going to have 100,000 fans at the home games there in the fall. How optimistic are you that you'll have 100,000 fans watching Volunteers football?
Well, if they completely open up the stadium, I'm sure there'll be 100,000 people there for sure.
But do you think there will be?
Well, I don't know about that. That's there's lots of time between now and then.
How optimistic are you that you can start the season on time?
You know, our medical staff has done an outstanding job getting our players back and working a plan. And through the SEC, you know, we've done a nice job executing the plan, and we've got to continue to do that.
Compare this June to last year at this time.
Well, it's obviously we started later, you know, and it's been voluntary. So, you know, it's been more so with the players and the strength staff as opposed with the coaching staff. So all the meetings have been online. So it's obviously a little bit different.
Are you allowed to announce the number of players who have tested positive? I saw where Alabama, Clemson, LSU, it feels like that's been a team or school announcement. What about Tennessee?
Yeah, with all the players that we've had in here and that we've tested, we've had 0 positive tests with the guys that we've tested.
How often are they going to be tested the rest of this summer?
Well, that will be up to our medical staff. You know, our guys are going out for a 3-day weekend this weekend. So they'll have a plan when they come back to get everybody within our program tested, and we'll start over.
Yeah, you know, we're in these, it's almost like day to day, Coach, of trying to figure this out of, you know, we keep saying, well, we're going to start on time. And I keep telling people, and this is day to day. You can have those goals and we can wish for that. But what do you say to your players as far as whatever concerns they may have? What's your message to them?
Yeah, we've been worried about the things that we have control over. So once we get in here and we have tests and we don't have negatives, you know, we kind of control our own surroundings, you know. So within our program, we've done a very nice job of that this summer, and we've got to continue to do that.
When do you have full contact practice?
Let's see. We start practice on August 7th, so it's 3 or 4 days after that.
I was looking at the quarterbacks you've coached against when your stay at Tennessee: Jarrett Stidham, Tua, Drew Lock, Jake Fromm, Will Grier. Who was the toughest to prepare for out of that group?
Well, I'm sure all these guys present different problems, but you know, that's kind of in the past. I'm kind of looking.
Have a little bit of fun, Coach. Come on.
I'm looking to the future to see who we've got to compete against.
Come on. Who was the toughest one out of that group? Because I'm curious about Stidham. He seems a little bit more of a mystery there. Tua, we know a lot about. Locke, it feels like, is coming on. And I'm not sure about Fromm and Grier. But tell me about Stidham.
Well, you know, that was a couple of years ago. So, you know, the system that he played in, you know, they really throw the ball more down the field. There's not a lot of RPOs and stuff. So, you know, we actually had a good day against him. I mean, over the last couple of years, it's been pretty obvious in our league, the guys that we've played against. You know, Tua's been as good as anybody I've coached against in a long time. And I felt like Jake Fromm did a nice job as far as managing, you know, his offense over the last 3 years that we competed against him.
Does it help? You were a high school quarterback. I think went to college to be a quarterback. Does it help as a defensive-minded guy that you've played the position? Does that help at all?
Well, I think when you start talking about defense, if you want to be good defensively, you got to start from the back end and work your way forward. So being able to eliminate explosive plays really starts with the defensive back. So whether it's in the throw game or squeezing the runs off. So, you know, I do think that probably my experience as a quarterback in high school helps me have a little bit better understanding of what people are trying to do offensively.
Who plays the position the way you played quarterback?
The way I played quarterback?
Yeah.
I would say most of them play it much better than I did.
Yeah, but were you a Brady-like? Were you a Rodgers-like, an option guy, Cam Newton guy?
I wouldn't say I was like any of those guys.
Do you have any Alabama gear left?
No, I don't.
Got rid of everything? Did you have a garage sale?
No, I had a lot of friends I could just give it away to.
Where's your Tennessee colors here? You're kind of subdued today. I expected some orange here.
Well, this is a shirt that they gave me to wear for this interview.
Oh, wait, I need checkerboard. I need something here. Who's your wardrobe guy? Let me talk to him.
You got to talk to Roger Frazier.
Come on, Raj. Give me some orange here. Man. Hey, well, good luck with this season and all these hurdles that we have coming up. We appreciate your time, and good luck this season, Coach.
Thank you.
That's Jeremy Pruitt. He's former defensive coordinator at Alabama and Tennessee Volunteers. He was spent 8 years with Coach Saban at Alabama. Let me see. We got a poll question there, McLevin?
Actually, I want to put this one up. MLB season, 60 games. Do you find that more or less exciting than 162 games? It's a fair question.
Well, I love this 60-game sprint.
Yeah, me too. I think it's cool. I know it's not the way they wanted it to go down.
I just think that you have every team, every fan base is involved here.
What's the counter argument to 60 games? That it's too big an asterisk?
How can we stop with the asterisk?
Oh, don't tell me to stop the asterisk with 60 games.
I would love to have baseball implement a 100-game schedule. 162 is just too long. You want excitement. 60 is too short, but you want excitement. You want the games to mean something. Games don't mean much. And you're going to have everybody involved. Let's say you win 7 or 8 games in a row. All of a sudden, you're looking at making the playoffs. Small market teams are going to have a chance. This isn't ideal. We can all agree on that. But while we have it, let's find out something that we can enjoy with it. And that's part of it, that you're going to have teams maybe getting a chance to stay involved in a playoff chase, a pennant race. How many teams do we write off at the beginning of the year? Beginning of the year, you just say, nope, maybe, maybe. Yeah, Paul.
Dan, I got the baseball standings from a year ago, late July. 15 of the 30 teams were at least 14 games out of first. That meant they're basically no longer playoff eligible. Half of the league and half of the league's fan bases were just watching games for pastime because their teams were not really in it. Now everyone's in it.
Yeah. I think it'll be fun. I mean, I have to be optimistic with something. I'm starving for something, right? Give me 60 games, give me a sprint. We have favorite restaurants. Now you're just looking for any restaurant that's open. That's my feeling with Major League Baseball. By the way, did Coach Pruitt want to come on the show?
Did it look like he was doing us a favor?
I don't know. I felt like I was interrogating him.
He's just super focused on getting
Focus on the
season off the ground.
Oh, is that what it is? I couldn't even get Tennessee Orange on here.
It's a fair question about the wardrobe.
Yeah, so thank you, Todd. All of a sudden, I'm going, short answers here. Does he want to be on? All righty.
We're going to just take it one game at a time.
Yeah, I'm taking it one question at a time.
Hopefully
there.
we'll have a season, Dan. That's
all right. Waiting for Coach to expound upon. When I said, hey, give me the guy toughest to prepare for. No, that's in the past. No, I need a little help here.
And I don't think you were you were asking him to compare himself to the abilities of Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady.
I know.
I think you were getting to what kind of player he was. Did he run or did he stay in the pocket?
I was trying to be a little playful there, Tom. I was.
He wasn't biting on that.
No, he was not. No. Maybe I shouldn't have led with 100,000 fans in the stadium. And
big topic.
How often?
Do you really think that's going to happen?
If I would have started out with, hey, I'm surprised you're wearing dark colors. Maybe that would have been better.
And you're usually good at that. You lighten the mood early on before you get to the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah. Well, I did ask him, how's morale? And I think he said, good. I think he was on a word count. To be fair to Coach, defensive-minded coach, How are you a quarterback and you become a defensive coach? I always find that interesting. Defensive coordinator.
I read defense.
Belichick just called and said, man, can that guy talk? Yes, Paul.
I'll play devil's advocate, though. He's doing some good work. Derek Dooley was an entertaining interview. Butch Jones was an entertaining interview. If you're a Vols fan, I'll take the quiet guy who's the assassin.
Oh, I know. But I don't care about the Vol fan who goes, hey, he doesn't say anything. I care about this damn show.
Go Vols.
I got people all around the country going, huh? Yes, Todd.
You do have to rest your voice, though, a little bit, because with all the screaming and yelling that goes on during the course of a season, you can't just burn out your vocal cords in an interview with you on July 1st. And I know we want him to express himself a little better.
And July 1st, too.
Got to pace yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, Todd. Let me
Don't you just wonder, though, that, like, when he walks and sits down in the living room, like he's having, like, the most baller recruiting class of all time? Do you want to play for us? Yes! Let's go!
Do you think he's a Steve Ballmer type?
Do you know? No, I think, like, the kids, like, how do the kids get so fired up? Like, did you want to play for us? Yes, I do. I'll sign right now.
Now, they've had a great recruiting class. They got another great recruiting class, but then I was wondering that when I'm asked, I start to talk to him and thinking, how do you close these guys? Like,
Coach Orgeron's a bulldozer.
Yeah. And I got to believe Saban is sneaky, funny, and playful a little bit there.
Or he just wears 4 or 5 rings, whichever ones are convenient.
We forgot how many he has. But, yeah.
I think we have a really exciting program here for you. And I think that you would be a great fit.
Well,
what we're trying to accomplish with our goals in the future. How would you like to come be a volunteer?
And he said we're on to Cincinnati. They're not even playing Cincinnati. I checked the schedule. They're not playing the Bearcats.
Yeah. Hell, Chip Kelly was, he was effusive. I had Chip Kelly. I was worried about Chip Kelly a couple of weeks ago.
Would he ever win?
Well, you got that right.
No offense.
Yeah. No offense taken.
Go Vols. Let's go. Let's go to a game.
Let's go.
You ever been to a game there? Oh, that tailgate.
We try. When we have people on, I just thought he's having a good start there. They've certainly had some, you had Dooley and you had Jones there, and they've had talent that goes through there. It's almost like Tennessee is a little bit like LSU, or at least was, where you go, man, Tennessee got a lot of athletes come through there, but they didn't have the success team-wise. Yeah, see.
I'll tell you one thing. When we just keep running through all the conferences and go on a run of 17 national championships in a row, there's one interview I'm not doing ever again.
Right here.
That guy can get lost.
Yeah. If they win the national title, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm screwed.
Hey, wonder if we could have Coach on again. Click.
Jerry Pruitt's the next Nick Saban, and we never talked to him again.
Hey, Todd, call for Coach Pruitt again. I'm going to go ahead and...
I had a really good time last time I was on.
You guys are actually kind of jerks.
Why did you lead with the attendance thing?
Go Vols.
Oh, and I'm not blaming you, Todd. I'm not blaming you because I said, I'm curious what coach. I wanted to have Philip Fulmer on, and if not, then we'd have Coach Pruitt on. And Tennessee's doing some big things and they're recruiting quite well.
He's got a lot on his mind. Things are up in the air. Are we playing? We're not playing. Can fans come? They can't.
Yes, Paul.
There might be 100,000 people at games, but I know 5 people who won't be invited to those games.
It got a little rocky top that interview.
Okay, all right.
Wasn't going in the direction we had hoped.
I was a little checkerboard.
Oh, wow.
Why did you have to do that? He always has to do that. Look how happy he is.
Wow.
Tennessee. Later. Maybe not. Okay.
Anywho.
Todd's going to hear from somebody at Tennessee. Just apologize that we were having a little bit of fun.
Having fun.
I have no idea why I haven't received an email.
We were just having a little bit of fun. We were trying to bring out a personality.
Isn't this fun? I actually think it's hilarious.
It's all about wins on the football field.
Yes, it is.
As much as we want to win for this interview on the show,
no.
it's all about the football field.
I took an L.
You did.
I got the
you
L.
took one for the team.
Then. Yeah, that's a loss, dog.
I thought you were a great interviewer.
Yeah, I thought wrong.
Isn't that what you're known for, is interviewing? I guess not.
We took our Knoxville, we dust ourselves off, and we move on. It's still over 2 hours yet. The commissioner of baseball is coming on, for crying out loud. It's all good.
Oh, I'm sure he's going to be excited to talk to me as well.
The commissioner's going to come off like Don Rickles.
Yeah, he's going to be, slow down the one-liners here. Okay, at least
do you really expect fans, Commissioner? Do you really?
You know there's no way this could be a World Series. Everyone's saying it. Why don't you just admit it? Why are we even bothering?
This season's a house of cards.
0%.
How do you answer that?
What don't you understand about
The
0%
answer!
truth?
At least we address the elephant in the room, because as I'm doing the interview, I'm going, well, we're missing something here. Anywho. Maybe we should take a break here. I'm exhausted after that interview. We'll take a break. Play of the day is coming up. Your phone calls and the commissioner of baseball will join us top of the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show.
Checking the National Day calendar, Dan. Coming up is one of my favorites, National Fried Chicken Day. Fried chicken, I think we underappreciate it as we get older. I don't think we eat it as much. I think we think it's unhealthy. None of that's true. It's very good for you. Whenever I eat fried chicken, I'm in a great mood. Seton, aren't you in a great mood after
The
eating fried chicken?
endorphins.
Depending on the
if it's good
skin, then yeah.
So you sound pretty confident that fried chicken. Was there science behind this, or
That's good for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Every time I eat it, I walk out in a fantastic mood.
So that's all that counts. Like that bottom leg right there. You want to grab that?
Look at Fritzy. Fritzy's in a better mood.
I'm
already.
ear to ear. I could taste it.
So here's some fried chicken tips for people. I think a lot of people go to barbecue restaurants and get brisket and ribs and pulled pork. Keep an eye out for fried chicken on a barbecue menu. The best fried chicken I've ever had in my life was in Houston, Texas, at a barbecue restaurant. And they only did it one day a week. Shocker. Now, another one that's popular, Nashville hot chicken. It's caught on a lot. It's kind of getting played out, but if you go to a place that does it really well with the bread and the pickles.
Is that's sort of overexposed as a fried chicken trend right now?
It is.
It is.
It's been curated to within an inch of its life.
Oh, yeah.
Also, at home, you can make fried chicken easily. You don't need a big air fryer or one of those deep fryers. You can just use a pan and foil. Now, here's the one that's a tough one because Mario didn't put the picture.
Mario.
There's the last. There's a picture of like chicken fried steak.
Great.
Good
Thanks, Mario.
That's a little greasy, that one.
I want to go back to that
it's in there.
Nashville hot one or whatever. What was that one? I never
I
heard
gotta be
that. It
honest,
looked good.
what is hot chicken?
We're not editing that out either. Is this worth the payoff, though, from Mario?
Yeah, this is important to me as a National Fried Chicken Day.
You guys
I want to complete the process.
Is Popeyes the one where everyone went crazy? Like they were going to kill each other over a chicken sandwich? It was like something on the news like a month ago.
I think
that
so.
Everyone would look at
They were waiting in line for the chicken
They
sandwich.
were running out of these chicken
Have
sandwiches.
you guys seen air fryers are like the hottest thing in the world?
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal?
Whoa.
Yeah, but they're healthy, right? I don't know. Like every day.
There you go,
over
Paul.
Twitter-
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that a picture?
As I was saying,
Before Mario screwed up.
As I was saying,
So you did?
chicken fried steak. Now, what is in chicken fried steak? Who thinks there's chicken in it? Who thinks there's steak in it? When
I know there's fried in it.
Right. A lot
I
of
think
fried.
it's chicken pounded to look like a steak that is then fried.
That sounds like a good
Who
definition.
agrees with Seton that it's some type of chicken pounded to almost feel like a steak?
I like that definition.
I agree with him.
No, I do not.
I don't like the green beans. Though.
Do you have a theory on what chicken fried
That
steak
wasn't
is
part of the
made of?
question.
I know there's steak in it. I've had it.
Andrew's correct.
Yeah.
There's no chicken whatsoever in
Really?
chicken
What?
fried steak.
Well, is there chicken broth in the breading?
Broth, but there's no chicken.
Yeah, I think that's how you
So
make
it's
it, right?
steak that's done like coated
chicken.
like
It's
chicken.
cube steak, which is naturally pounded by your butcher, and then it's made in a chicken process with the gravy on it. Don't sleep on chicken fried steak. I mean, it's a commitment.
The gravy.
No?
Put that thumb back up. And put it up now.
Why not?
That's heavy.
And now that's also good for you.
The gravy?
Oh,
That's also good, right?
Is that
fantastic for you.
That's like an Alfredo
is that
sauce kind of
cilantro?
Look at the green beans.
What's the
You gotta get rid of
Those chives?
oh, chives?
Chives,
Okay.
a little
Chives.
bed of mashed potatoes.
Okay.
A little pepper, a little chives, a little
Yeah,
mashed potato.
okay.
Man, I am hungry.
I do like that. Let's
go.
It looks very cozy.
Call my,
Thanks, Mario.
I'm going to call my
Dang,
fried chicken
I
guy.
am so hungry.
Oh my God!
The play of the day. This is the play of the day. Check this out.
Messi, the Panenka, and he does it with class.
Well, football's poet laureate comes out with an absolute sonnet for the ages. His 700th goal, and it's typical Messi.
A sonnet. McLovin, what's a sonnet?
It's a poem with a specific count, right? Like Shakespeare sonnet.
700 career goals for Lionel Sonnet Messi.
Seattle Supersonics, remember them? No.
Okay. 630 goals for Barcelona and 70 for Argentina. That's courtesy of beIN Sports with Lionel Messi. Play of the day brought to you by Traeger. Fired up the Traeger yesterday. It's short ribs, and that's lunch today is short ribs. I just had a little taste. It's not fair. It's so good. No, not many people have short ribs for breakfast, but it's that good. It's falling off the bone. Yeah, Paul.
Little polenta, bed of polenta
Yes.
underneath, smoked
Yeah.
right now.
TraegerGrills.com/DP show to get started. A couple of phone calls in here. Let me see. How about Charlie in Virginia? Good morning, Charlie.
Yeah, hey, Dan. Look, given the prominence of your voice across sports radio, I was hoping you'd address something that I don't hear talked about. You know, we're focusing on risk to the players, risk to the coaches, risk to associated personnel, but I don't hear anybody talking about the responsibility of these universities to the communities in which they reside. These folks are going to get turned loose into the bigger community at large, including a whole lot of people that could care less about football or going to a football game, and yet they're going to be subjected to this risk. And no one seems to be stepping up to the plate and addressing what responsibility the universities have to the communities that they're in. So I'm hoping you will discuss that, tee it up.
All right. Thank you, Charlie. Well, you have grown-ups at these universities. I mean, you have your choice to go to the game or not. You have your choice if you don't want to play or not. I can't be, somebody's guardian angel and saying, this is what you need to do. You have grown-ups in these positions who have to take in all these aspects that you're bringing up here. I wouldn't go to a game. but people will. They feel like I need to go or that's my right to go. Whatever reason. You know, I saw this story in Kansas City, and I thought it was really well done. It's just, I don't know why we have to have a story like this to have people be responsible. There's a company called Raygun. It's selling masks that say, help keep Patrick Mahomes safe, wear a mask. And Raygun wrote on Twitter, Kansas City, remember how happy you were after the Super Bowl? Well, now imagine if Mahomes got COVID with diminished lung capacity, couldn't repeat. Masks aren't just for you. They're for Mahomes, too. Do your part. You know, I liked what they did, but I don't know why we have to have a gimmick or tongue-in-cheek here to just get people to protect one another. That's all. And it feels like we have to. And going to games and large gatherings, and it's just, that's why I have a negative attitude towards this, because I see everything else that's happening. And I think it's hard to just place sports in their little bubbles and protect everybody. It's just not going to happen. And as I've said before, what is the collateral damage when it's all said and done? Hey, we got a season. Hey, we crowned a champ. At what cost? That's what I want to know. Ian in South Dakota. Ian, what's on your mind?
Hey, DP. Hey, boys. I don't think there's a card that exists for this day, but I just want to wish you guys a happy holiday today. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Oh, yeah. We're well aware of Bobby Bonilla. Bobby Bonilla gets paid over $1 million every July 1st by the Mets, and it's a nice annuity there. So I think he's going to get paid till he's 75. Nice little deal with Bobby Bonilla. Yes, Tom.
It goes all the way to 2035. Another 15 years of that.
Yep. Sounds pretty good for Bobby Bonilla. Jesse in Los Angeles. Hi, Jesse. What do you have for me today?
Hey, DP.
Hey.
5'10" and a cutting 171.
Nice.
Hey, do you think Kyler Murray's dad helped Coach Pruitt prepare for that interview?
Thank you, Jess. This isn't going to be a Matt Harvey Hall of Fame, is it, Paulie?
It is, Dan, because it's college football. It's the Vols, big fan base. I had a guy walk up to me the other day, like a 20-year-old dude, and he goes, hey. He goes, Matt Harvey interview. He goes, I still watch it. Just out of nowhere, it just said the Matt Harvey interview. That's like 9 years ago.
Just here to honor Qualcomm.
Did you see that Qualcomm finally acknowledged that, by the way, on Twitter?
Yeah.
It's
about time.
So damn good.
We gave them all this publicity.
We sold a lot of Qualcomm.
You know, whatever Qualcomm is or was, we helped them.
You got a box full of them in the back.
Flying off the shelves.
Jeff in Detroit is back. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Dan. Jeff from Chat Row, 6'6", 180 pounds. I'm interneting today. Listen, I'm here only to represent Chat Row. I have a couple of questions and a couple of comments for you. First of all, they love Marvin's segment. They love hating on Mario, and they wonder how crackpots get through on the phone from Marvin because he blocks them so well. Speaking of crackpots getting through, segue, they wonder how I get through so often. So I said, I'm going to start asking you a question. The question today comes, first of all, they want you to know that you have a lot of lady followers. They want to see your cars. And Andrea wants to know how Dan Patrick is doing since you left DirecTV and struck out on your own. What's been the most surprising, and what have you learned, good, bad, or indifferent?
Thank you, Jeff. It's kind of deep. I don't know if I have enough time to give you all the answers there.
Go Jeremy Pruitt on him and just sort of.
It's really been a lot of fun.
That's been the past. I don't want to. I'm moving on to the future.
Yes, Todd.
Struck out on your own. Was that taking a shot? I think you're doing pretty well in the post AT&T days.
Thanks, Todd.
Struck out on your own.
I know, I got it, Todd.
Like a batter would strike out opposed to getting a base hit.
That's not what the saying means.
Speaking of baseball, Commissioner Major League Baseball will join us coming up top of the hour. He better be a lively interview. That's all I got to say. He better bring it. Yeah, great. Did you grow up with a comedy movie that stayed with you, or said, "Boy, that kind of sparked something in me"?
Oh, listen to me. Jerry Lewis was hysterical, man. I see him all the time. Just the things that he would do was so funny. Steve Martin and Richard Pryor, those guys. That's the kind of movies I grew up on. Just laughing. The Jerk. I mean, man, those movies were so funny, so funny. I miss those kind of movies.
Did you want to be a stand-up comedian?
No, I never had a desire.
No interest?
No. I fell into this thing. I was watching the Oprah show. Yes, big black man was watching the Oprah show. I was watching the Oprah show, and she said it was cathartic to write things down. And I started writing, and I was using different characters' names. And a friend found it. He said, "Man, this is a really good play." And I thought, a play? Okay, well, maybe I should go start seeing some plays. So I couldn't afford to go to the theater, so I would wait to intermission when everybody would come out to smoke, and I would follow them back into the theater. So these critics would say, something about his movies, they always seem like it's just one act. And that's why I was just learning from the one act of the
You
one
only
act
got
of
to
the
see
play.
one act.
That's it. That's all I could afford.
What was that like was Oprah a phone call the first time, or was it in person?
It was a phone call on April Fool's Day to be on her show. And I thought I was being, April Fool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I show up and, we do the show. And in 2007 is when she invited me to a party she was having called the Legends Ball. And that's when she and I became friends.
Okay, but what's that like? I mean, you're walking in, you're some guy sitting at home in your underwear eating Funyuns or something, watching Oprah.
What do you know about Funyuns? What do you know about Funyuns? Yeah.
I love Funyuns.
Funyuns, yeah.
Very underrated Funyuns.
Absolutely. Clogged arteries and all. But no, Funyuns. I love Funyuns. No, it was really surreal just going in there and having a conversation with her, and just somebody who I admired, who looked like she could be a relative of mine, and really inspired me through some really hard times. I thought, wow, this is pretty awesome.
Group of people that chat in a specific group that we have on YouTube. No shout outs for you guys, but so I got some mail. I'm gonna show you guys what we got. The first thing I wanna address is please, when you're sending something, send a picture. Don't just send like an empty envelope and then say, sign this, or sign a picture and send it back. We need you guys to send something first, and then we will sign it and send it back to you if you send return postage. Cool? Great. So we got some patches. We got Broken Arrow. I think this is from the Atlanta Police. Thank you, Atlanta Police. Dan will be thrilled with this. We got something from Larimer County. I believe it's Colorado. Larimer County. What else do we got? We got invited to a graduation party from, who's this from? Seth. Seth is graduating, so congratulations, Seth. I know it's probably a weird time to be graduating, but congratulations. We'll try to get you something back for your efforts of graduating high school. What else do we got here? We got another patch, Southport. I don't know where this is from. Charlotte.
Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
I love Dan Patrick. Oh my God, he's one of my favorites.
Bringing you the biggest stories.
The Danettes, they have had discussions here of who has the biggest head.
And heads.
Where do you think Ross Tucker ranks?
He's the Michael Jordan of big
Whoa.
heads. It's not even really that close.
Okay.
I got to go with Ross.
Oh, yeah, it's Ross.
Yeah, I got to go with Ross.
Okay.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave.
Your neck to head ratio in life is very important. So I lift my neck multiple times a week just so I don't look like a bobblehead when I'm on with you.
This is Dan Patrick.
Hour 2 on this Wednesday. It's got to be better than hour 1. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. Glad to have you on board. We'll talk to Commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred. He'll join us coming up. Chris Mannix has to pay up on a bet. He'll join me a little bit later on this hour. Marv Albert is not going to Orlando to broadcast the games there in the bubble for health reasons. So we'll talk to Marv Albert. He'll join us coming up as well. 877-3DP Show. Email address, dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle @DP Show. McLovin, the poll question from the first hour.
If you could have MLB season go down to 100 games, would you like that? And 60% say yeah.
Well, they're down to 60, and there's going to be a sprint here. He's the commissioner, Rob Manfred, who joins us now. Commissioner, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm good, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
If I take you back to mid-March and I give you a mulligan, a do-over, knowing what you know, what would you do differently?
Well, I think that the agreement that we reached in March with the players would have looked very different. I think one of the difficulties that we encountered is, we try to be proactive, try to get an agreement that addressed the situation. And frankly, the situation evolved differently than we expected and made the subsequent negotiation difficult for us, I think.
Give me a specific of what you would have put in or taken out.
Well, I just think that we would have been more explicit about the need for subsequent negotiation. I mean, I think the agreement was clear that it contemplated playing in stadiums with fans. We took we had no obligation to play unless we could play with fans, and the players understood that. We thought it made clear that there would have to be a discussion of playing empty. I think I just would have written the words, if we're going to play empty, there needs to be another negotiation. I think that negotiation probably would have gone a little differently had we done that. But, hindsight's perfect,
How would you rate the job that you did? Like where we are right now, that we're starting spring training again and we got 60 games?
Look, I think the most important thing to our fans is that we're going to make every attempt to get the game back on the field. I know some people have talked about longer seasons, 62 short. The reality is we weren't going to play more than 60 games no matter how the negotiation with the players went or any other factor. 60 games is the outside of the envelope given the realities of the virus. And, I think this is the one thing that we come back to every single day. We're trying to manage something that has proven to be unpredictable and unmanageable. I know it hasn't looked particularly pretty in spots, but having said that, if we can pull off this 60-game season, I think it was the best we were going to do for our fans, given the course of the virus.
But even if the players accepted everything you offered, there was no way that you would have gone to 80 games. It was still going to be 60.
It's the calendar. We're playing 60 games in 63 days right now. I don't see, given how the reality of the health situation over the past few weeks, how we were going to get going any faster than the calendar we're on right now, no matter what the state of those negotiations were. And look, we did get a suboptimal result from the negotiation in some ways. We didn't The fans aren't going to get an expanded postseason, which I think would have been good with this shortened season. And, look, the players left real money on the table. They left $25 million worth of playoff pools, $33 million worth of salary advances. But that's what happens when you have a negotiation that instead of being collaborative gets, into sort of a conflict situation.
How many owners didn't want to resume the season?
I think if you gave everybody truth serum, there were one or two that were opposed to the idea of playing for health reasons. The vast majority of our owners wanted to play. And I think from the perspective of the owners, they're making an investment, in terms of additional losses in order to get the game back on the field, because we feel it's important to have the game back on the field. We owe it to our fans.
I'm glad you mentioned the 60 games, because a source told me, and I told this audience, I don't know how many days ago, it was last week or maybe 10 days ago, that it was going to be 60 games. That was what was agreed to. No matter what the negotiations were going on, the 60 games, that was etched in stone. But, you had to have a hard out of when you were going to be playing the World Series, the playoff games. Is that fair?
I think that everybody has certain things that you accept as really good advice. One of the pieces of advice we received early on from the medical experts, the pandemic experts that we've been working with, is that by the end of September, the risk of another spike and a shutdown was going up dramatically. Given that, one of our guiding principles, we were going to finish no later than September 27th, which was the scheduled date, and we were going to play the postseason on its normal calendar. Given that hard end date, what I said about the calendar before in the 60 games, if you look around the country, okay, there was no place or no possibility of us resuming operations either in home markets or in the spring training facilities at a materially earlier time than July 1. It just was not consistent with the public health situation.
If you have to pause the season,
yes.
How long can you pause this season?
I don't have a firm number of days in mind. I think the way that I think about it, Dan, is in the vein of competitive integrity, right? In a 60-game season, if we have a team or two that's really decimated for with the number of people who have the virus and can't play for any significant period of time, it can have a real impact on the competition, and we have to think very, very hard about what we're doing.
If somebody tests positive, Brian Cashman, the Yankee GM, said the teams can't announce if they tested positive. So how do they go on the injury report? What's the designation there, Commissioner?
They're just going to be reported as being on the injured list like any other injured player. Look, I want to be really clear about this. This is not a lack of transparency issue. It is what's allowed by federal law. You're not allowed to be out there talking about somebody else's medical condition without their permission. I think that the reality in an everyday game is that people are going to kind of figure out what's going on when somebody's not present.
No, I understand what you're saying. I just didn't know what baseball,
No, we're just going to report them like as if they're an injured player, like any other injured and unable to play player.
He's the Commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, joining us. I'm not sure how to describe your personality here today. I mean, exasperated, defeated, drained.
I don't feel any of those things, Dan. Really, I really don't. I'm hopeful, is what I am. I'm hopeful and I'm realistic. I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to give the game back to our fans, and I'm realistic about the challenges that we face going forward.
The designated hitter, National League, is it here to stay, or is this a trial
Look, I think it's a really important trial, is the way I would say it, Dan. I think that it is this year, for all the bad things about it, I think it does give us an opportunity. It has given us an opportunity to do something we've never been able to pull off before. We got a lot of support, both in the American and National League, for the idea that at least in these circumstances, it made really good sense to use a designated hitter in both leagues. We'll see how our fans react. We'll see how the clubs react. But, it's a really nice opportunity to maybe get us to a situation where we have a single set of rules for both leagues.
And then the extra inning starting in the 10th with a runner on second base?
Yeah, I'm not sure that we're prepared to abandon extra inning baseball permanently. I think in the context of a pandemic, when the amount of time that the players are together is an important consideration, the idea of playing 18-inning games just didn't make a lot of sense. But again, I have always liked this rule. You and I've talked about it before. I've talked to you about the fact that we used it during the WBC, and it can be really exciting. It can make for a very exciting end of the game. And it was kind of hoisted on us by the pandemic in terms of using it in the major leagues. Gives us an opportunity to let our fans see it and see whether they like it in practice.
Yeah, I understand with the shortened season and the schedule and the number of games and days that you don't want a 14, 15 inning game. Trying to do back-to-back games. I understand that. I'm for the DH. I grew up in a National League city, but I understand where we are and adding more excitement here. So I could see where you would probably. If I said right now, how many owners would want this, and would the Baseball Players Association vote for this for the DH? How do you think that would turn out?
The Players Association has historically been in favor of the universal DH. I think most American League owners are obviously in favor of the designated hitter rule. That's their game. I think what's happened in recent years is you have more and more National League owners who are open to the idea. Let me go back to the extra innings thing for just a second. And I think this is important. One of the things that we've done from a health perspective is try to minimize the amount of time our players are together. And that was really the driving issue on extra inning games. You play an 18-inning game, it makes for a very, very long day in the dugout, in a clubhouse, in a relatively confined area. So, that one was really a pandemic-driven rule more than anything else.
You have keeping everybody safe, replacing the baseballs. There's no spitting. You can't argue with the umpire, I'm guessing. Can't be, if somebody throws inside, you can't go to the mound. And I mean, these, how are you going to police this?
Look, I think that as with any set of rules, the most important thing is self-policing. I think the players understand that these protocols are necessary to keep them safe and keep the game going. We are going to be constantly and closely monitoring adherence to the protocols. But I will say, I talked to a number of clubs yesterday as players are reporting, and I was really heartened by the fact that kind of uniformly what clubs are saying is, players have been great about this. They have masks on. You don't have to tell them to wear them when they're off the field. They're doing the right thing. And that's good. That's good because you don't have enough policemen to, make sure everybody's doing the right thing. You have to rely on the fact that we educate the players, explain to them why we're doing what we're doing, and they self-police.
Would you be in favor of shortening the season as we move forward?
No, I not materially. I mean, I've always been open to the idea that, within the historical bounds, which I see as 154 to 162, depending on what we were doing with playoff formats and whatever, that I would be open to that kind of adjustment, but not a material adjustment. Look, a big part of our game and one of the biggest hurdles that we had to get over from a competitive perspective in terms of putting a 60-game season out there. There's a huge competitive difference between a 60-game sprint and a 162 game marathon. It's kind of like saying, would you be in favor of making the New York Marathon 13 miles? I think the answer is no, right?
No, then I could run it. So,
well, yeah, you could. I couldn't.
What about how does seating work in the dugout?
There are going to be actual markings in the dugout that will lay out the social distancing, and during the period of time, which may be, the whole season when we're not having fans in the stands, we're actually going to expand outside the physical dugout itself, use some of the front rows of the stands.
What are you doing the rest of the day?
What I'm doing the rest of the day is more Zoom calls. I have the club presidents group today. I've tried to, communicate on a very consistent basis with the important groups in the industry, the control people, meaning the 30 owners, the general managers, the club presidents, and I've had regular calls with them. Today's President's Day. And a lot, this will be a very busy call because there's a lot of operational issues that we need to review and make sure the clubs are on board on. I said to the clubs after we announced the season that, there's been all this activity in terms of the negotiation and whatnot, in terms of getting back on the field. But now we return to the more normal situation in our game. This is about what the clubs are doing. And so communicating with them in this unique situation, really important.
I know it's only 1 year, but I really feel bad for these minor leaguers and these minor league cities that, they got crushed here, Commissioner.
They did. And look, I want to be as clear about this as possible. We think minor league baseball is an important part of not just our business, but of the fabric of American life. And it was simply impossible to do enough testing and to get protocols in place in 160 minor league cities and provide any assurance that we could keep those players safe. And I while it's disappointing, and I feel bad for the minor league operators and the minor league players, what happened here with this season, I think, is the most concrete demonstration of the fact that we have put player safety first in terms of the decisions we've made.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it, Commissioner. Good luck.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
That's Rob Manfred, Major League Baseball Commissioner. And I mentioned this, that I thought that they'd agreed to 60 games, and they knew what they were going to lose. But getting into the postseason, as the commissioner said, look, they think there's going to be another spike coming up here, and they just have to be hoping and praying. They don't care about the regular season. They care about the playoffs here and getting the playoffs in time. But as you heard him say, and my source told me this, 2 weeks ago, they were set on 60 games. That's why when the Players Association would come back with another number, and I'm going, they're not going to budge. The owners agreed that 60 games, how much we're going to lose. Now, how much money can we make in the postseason? And you had a couple of owners. I think some people said it was maybe 4 owners, 4 to 6, and I was told 1 to 2, and that's exactly what he said. 1 to 2 owners did not want to resume the season. Yes, Don.
The commissioner said the calendar was going to end up having to start around this time anyway. But if they came to this agreement of 60 games a lot sooner, they couldn't have started the baseball season closer to April or May, that it would have to be all the way to July like this?
I don't know if they wanted to. I go back to what I was told. This felt scripted. And I think it was. I think it is. You got a designated time to get all of this in. You guys are going to lose money here in these 30 home games that you're not going to have without fans, and you're going to get some money with the postseason. I think that's how this played out. Your phone calls are coming up 19 after the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show. I talk about this Sleep Number 360 smart bed, and they've always got sales going on. Lowest prices of the season right now. You can save $400 on the Sleep Number 360 C4 smart bed. It's $1,299. And you might be saying, wow, for a bed? Oh, it's more than that. Because when you won't have another bed the rest of your life. That's how good this bed is. And sleep affects so much. Our immune system, getting a good night's sleep, one of the best ways to help prevent and recover from illness. And it means that you're less prone to obesity and diabetes, heart disease, and depression. You didn't realize this before, but now just the scientific aspect of getting a great night's sleep, and that's what Sleep Number does. Go in and find your Sleep Number setting, and you're going to understand why this bed is different than just a bed. It becomes part of the family, and you got 2 beds in one. Sleep Number 360 C4 Smart Bed right now at $1,299. Only for a limited time. Sleepnumber.com/Patrick. You also were involved in a basketball game back in 2010 with President Obama. Now, I think it was his birthday. And Carmelo was there, LeBron there, Magic, Bill Russell, Dwayne Wade. Is that the guest list there that you guys had a pickup game?
Yeah. No, and there were more. Chauncey Billups, Derrick Rose, Noah, Battier. But yeah, all those guys were there. It was President Obama's 49th birthday. It was crazy, Dan, because we all met at the White House. And once we got there, we were bussed over to an Air Force base, and I guess a particular location where the president played a lot of his pickup games. And basically, it was really funny. He told us, he said, look, before we started playing, he said, you see all those Secret Service around the court, they all have guns, and they all shoot on my command. But they broke the group up into 4 different teams. And I think the last set of games, President Obama hit the game-winning 3 on Derrick Rose, and it was fitting. It was perfect, a perfect ending. And it was one of those things as a basketball fan. If you were a basketball fan and you were president, you said, I could do anything. Like, this is what I do for my birthday. And he did. And I think he enjoyed it. But I think we enjoyed it just as much as he did, and certainly one of my most memorable moments that I was able to be a part of.
Okay.
It was really, really, really special.
But were you able to put him on lockdown, or because it's the president, you sort of have to let him, and it's his birthday? I mean, you got to let him get a couple of jumpers in. Is that what was going on?
Oh yeah, don't make no mistake about it. Yeah, no one. He went to the hole. It was like the parting of the Red Sea. It was token defense.
Okay.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when I was in school at Duke, and we're in practice, and we're messing up, and Coach K would grab the ball and say, "Okay, you know what? Let me run the point to demonstrate something." And so, and he would say, like, full speed, guys, let's go. And like, you can't really guard Coach K, and so, he's making a move, he comes down the paint, and just kind of like, okay,
What's up, everybody? This is Marvin Prince here. We got some good emails, definitely referring to that hard-hitting interview with Coach Pruitt from the University of Tennessee. My man Butch in Ohio said, DP, have you ever compiled a list of guys you would not like to have a beer with? And what number is Coach Pruitt on? It's probably top 5. My friend Carlos said, sounded like he didn't want to volunteer any information. Bueller? No? Okay. McGee in South Carolina asked, between Kyler Murray and Jeremy Pruitt, which interview was worse? Clearly, Murray's dad briefed Pruitt before that interview. Appreciate your enthusiasm. And we just got one more. It's nothing related to this, but a question. He said, DP, as a Bears fan, do I wear my team gear to a Steelers-Browns game I'm attending with my wife, or do I wear neutral colors? What is the proper protocol? Your advice is greatly appreciated, from Sean in Youngstown, Ohio. That's all I got. Hopefully the interviews will get better than my my man Pruitt.
I thought it was a good idea to put Marvin and Mario on TV during the commercial breaks. I think it's still a good idea to have Marvin and Mario be on TV on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. By the way, Big German, birthday today. Yay! Big German, who is the director. He didn't start out as the director. He was the guy who helped. He was like the construction manager here.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Foreman, general contractor?
GC.
Studio manager-ish?
That was his job. He was here because we had 3 months to build this man cave. And Eric Von Scrudem, he would be here every day getting all of these workers in here. And he did a wonderful job. And then all of a sudden, I said, you know what? We got cameras, we got everything, but we don't have a control room. So he went out, got a control room, he installed that. And then I said, well, I don't have a director. He goes, I can direct. I said, all right, well, who does graphics? I don't know. And he just pointed at Dylan. And Dylan had been getting our breakfast. And I go, sure.
Why not?
Who's going to monitor, the social media? Well, Tyler can. Sure. I don't even know what Tyler did other than smoke cigarettes before he did that. He would just show up and smoke heaters.
But he was great at that.
He was, and a very nice guy. And then Mario, what did Mario do before he started doing?
He was the breakfast intern.
And he was also he was what Marvin is currently doing.
Oh, okay.
He sort of shuffled over roles there a little bit.
So Marvin can aspire to be Mario at one point.
That's his career path.
By the way, 4th of July sale, danpatrick.com, 15% off all T-shirts for a limited time through Sunday. Use the promo code July 4th at checkout. Promo code July 4th, danpatrick.com, 15% off T-shirts now through Sunday. People want to know about Cam Chowda, and we're still working on those. You can order those. We haven't actually physically gotten a shipment of Cam Chowda T-shirts, but
not yet.
No, not yet. We got to get them and get them out quickly before we get a cease and desist from somebody. It feels like we know we have a really good T-shirt when we get a cease and desist. We're like, yes.
I think that's the name of the LLC.
The
Cease and Desist LLC.
All right, some phone calls in here. Justin in Colorado joining us on the program. Hi, Justin. What's on your mind?
How you doing, fellas? 5'5", 190. Definitely want to talk to you guys a little bit about the Wizards. Okay, y'all blasphemed against us yesterday, and so we got on Twitter and started talking to McLovin. But for me personally, I know that maybe the wins and losses haven't always been good, but the Wizards have always been an entertaining team. We went from C-Web and Juwan, God Sham God, to Michael Jordan, to Gilbert Arenas and all the drama that was, to Swaggy P and JaVale McGee, and then we got John Wall in 2010. So, and since then, we've been like a perennial 4 seed. So, don't come after the DC family like that.
Oh, no, I would not mess with the Wizards fan. Oh, he said plural. I thought it was just Wizard fan there.
Wow.
Yes, McLovin.
I agree on the entertaining. I sent this clip of Marcin Gortat getting crossed over by Steph Curry. That was really entertaining. And
It was.
He didn't come back after that.
Yes,
By the way, that Wizards fan was calling from Colorado.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
It's a hotbed out there.
a hotbed
Wizard
of
fans.
Yeah.
Got a big group there.
Yeah, that bar they get together at.
Yeah.
Don't go after Wizards Nation.
No, don't want that. No way. I like how the team's entertaining. You know when a team's really entertaining? When they win.
There were some characters in that list.
Oh, yeah.
Gilbert Arenas was good content for a long time.
Hey, bringing a gun to work day. I mean, I always like that.
I don't remember God Sham God landed there. I don't remember what happened to him after Providence.
Wow.
No, I mean, I wasn't being mean. I honestly didn't.
Ryan in South Carolina joining us. Hey, Ryan, what do you have for me?
Good morning, Dan. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm calling because yesterday I celebrated my 5th year of sobriety, and the reason I wanted to share this with you was because about a year ago, I was in a really dark place. I'm an Air Force veteran, and I had sustained a couple herniated discs in my neck, and they went misdiagnosed for about 5 years. Well, last May you talked about, you opened up about your depression on air because of the prednisone that they had offered you. And I happened to be listening that day, and I had just been offered my own regimen, prednisone regimen, and if I hadn't heard what you said that day on the air as someone who suffers from severe depression already, I don't know if I'd be here today. And I just really wanted to share that with you because it's really important to me.
That's awesome, Ryan. And I hope you stay in touch, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a 4-year-old. I'm celebrating my 5th year of sobriety, and so I thank you so damn much.
Stay on hold, Ryan. Marvin's going to get information here. I want to send you a care package, but thank you for sharing, and I'm glad when more people share. Was it last May when I said that? I forgot.
Yeah, about 13 months ago.
Yeah, I forgot all about it. But, yeah, the reaction, and people have sent in some things, and people ask for, there's a couple of things back there that I got that people want pictures just to say, hey, I'm with you. A couple of people who have gone through some tough times, battling depression, and you just want to make sure somebody's on the other end. That's all. Somebody's listening. Somebody's willing to listen. They don't even have to talk, just listen. And that's what a lot of people who go through this feel. And, man, it can be lonely. I will say this. You know who stays in touch with me constantly? Jay Glazer. Constantly checking on me. And I think Jay has battled that as well, and he checks in on me all the time. I heard from on Father's Day, Patrick Ewing. He's the one that got COVID. And I reached out to him. I said, stay in touch. Let me know how you're feeling. And he reached out on Father's Day, and he said, just thinking about you. I hope you're doing well. And, I really appreciate that. And the people who have, said things, responded, thank you. But there are far braver people going through tougher things than I went through. But that prednisone, if it can be a miracle, but, man, there's a price to pay. It certainly was with me. It took away all the pain. If it takes away all the pain, there has to be something bad about it. It just does. And it took away all the pain. And then all of a sudden, you just start going through mood swings, and you're going, who am I? What the hell? Then you throw in the light chemo I was doing. I was walking around. I was a Molotov cocktail. It was like, I showed up. Probably these guys had no idea who was coming into work. Be like, I don't know. Is he okay? Can you talk to him? Is he cheery? Yeah, Paul.
Well, the weird part was when your pain was acting up, you'd walk in and you were very creaky, kind of that Phil Jackson walk. And I'm not making fun of him, saying that's. And then we knew you were going to be tough because you were in actual pain. Then the days you came in all spring in your step, we thought, oh, that's great. He's having a great day.
Yeah. But there were days when my wife tied my shoes. There were days we had to move all my clothes down to the basement because I couldn't climb steps.
That sounds like Todd's house.
I know.
For 50 years.
His wife ties his shoes.
Yes. But
Again, something I say in confidence.
In the old man cave where I had to walk up those back steps, and I labored. But I will say, once I got in, that we focused on working. And I think that thank God I had that outlet. And not all these people do. So Ryan, good luck with that. We appreciate you sharing that. Doug in North Carolina joins us. Hi, Doug. What do you have for me?
Well, Dan, a couple of weeks ago, I called in and I spread some love on Fritzy, and I was hoping to follow that up. If you have 20 seconds, I would like to present what I have constructed, what I call Ode to Todd. If you have 20 seconds, I'd like to present it.
Well, of course. We'll make way for
Okay.
Here's Doug in North Carolina, the Ode to Todd sonnet.
They said I was drunk, perhaps tipsy, when I said the heart and the soul was Fritzy. He's the funniest one in the room, although we're laughing because he can't use tongs or sweep with a broom. A modern-day Chaplin, better than a Keaton, but in public I'd rather be seen with Seaton. But Todd, Mr. Fritzy, you're my radio hero, and I don't give a damn about Scott Shapiro.
Wow. Well done,
Zing.
Doug. Well done, Doug. There you go, Todd. Todd,
thoughtful poem.
Doug's the one that had you as the heart and soul of this program.
That was very, very kind that he took the time to write a poem and put his thoughts into a verse like that. Very creative, very cool.
Thank you, Todd. Yes, Paul.
Todd would rather be the buys and tries of this program than a heart and soul, if you really.
I would. and be 25 pounds lighter.
He's the buys and tries.
Buys
of the
and
show.
tries.
It's not as common, but that's
No.
where the girls see that. They don't see under the shirt; they see the buys and tries.
It's a very valid point.
But when you started working on your arms, at any point did you say, maybe I need to do, how about a day of shoulders?
There were a couple people at the gym that may make a little comment.
Okay.
Or one of the
I'm
trainers
just curious.
And I said, that's all right. I'm going to just keep doing bicep curls. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's like the comedy thing. I got this. I got everybody laughing or not. And
You just
I don't
do-
really need anybody writing jokes.
You just do biceps, not triceps.
I do a little triceps, but I would say 97% biceps. And then once in a while, I'll do that pull down machine, that it kind of hits the triceps a little bit. But they'll do that real quick, and then I'll go right back to a bicep curls.
Chris Mannix is going to join us. I was going to talk to him about the bubble and get his thoughts about a couple other things. But it was brought to my attention by Ario that we had a bet years ago when the Cavs had the number one pick and they took Anthony Bennett. And we had Mannix on, and I said Victor Oladipo was the guy that I would have gone with. And then Mannix doubled down and said he would have taken Ben McLemore over Victor Oladipo. And we, of course, have that audio because we save all things that Mannix says. So we'll play that for him when we come back. Phone calls. And I'm curious what this audience thought of the commissioner. Because I do think that he is a little more honest than most commissioners I've dealt with. But I do think that they had a plan and they were not deviating from that plan. 60 games. Oh, I wanted to mention the Arizona baseball team, AZ643. They are a nationally ranked baseball team, and they're celebrating as best they can now. And just want to give a shout out to them that they listen to the show, they watch the show. And one of the parents, Ted, is a good friend of mine, and his son, Ryan, it's his birthday today as well. So congratulations to you guys. We'll take a break. Back after this with Chris Mannix. This is the Dan Patrick Show.
When's the last time you had a man sleepover? Like you said, you know what, Dan, sleepover. Let's have a guy sleepover. It's usually the kids. When's the last time you've had a sleepover?
That I actually planned it?
No, you didn't plan it. You just you're out, you had a few cocktails, and your buddy says, hey, why don't you sleep over at my house? And you know what? You look him in the eyes, you go, yep, I'm in. Let's go. When's the last time that happened?
Are you with Chris Rose right now in a sleepover? And are you in your hotel room?
No. He's shaped like an avocado. I'm not with Chris Rose right now. I haven't seen him yet. We flew in different times. Let me just tell you right now.
Okay, give me a hint. Give me a hint.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. Give you a hint. He had a lot of home runs for us in 2003, 4, and 5.
You're at Big Poppy's house?
All right, Danny, that's exactly right. So Big Poppy's house, Big Poppy has a restaurant. You know, Big Poppy's one of the few last rock stars we've had in baseball.
Yeah.
So I had a sleepover with Heidi DeRosa. That's Mark DeRosa's wife, with Mark DeRosa.
Okay, all right.
Okay, myself and Big Poppy. We ended up back at his house, and he's like, bro, come back to our house. Let's have a sleepover. So guess what? We had an adult sleepover. It was great. We woke up this morning. I don't know where I'm at. I had no cell service. I'm excited I'm talking to you on his landline.
What kind of crib does Big Poppy have?
Amazing. Nice backyard. Let me walk out here real quick. It's beautiful green grass mowed. He's got a soccer goal, so I didn't know Poppy was into soccer. We have a playscape. We have a pool that's covered here in Boston. We have a basketball hoop next to the pool, but it's absolutely gorgeous out right now.
What's for breakfast?
You know what? He says he's going to take us to breakfast at some place down the road, but it's already 9:40, so I'll make sure. Hopefully breakfast is not noon because I don't want to miss intentional talk.
Did Poppy want to have you stay over, or did you just sort of say, I'm staying over?
It's a validated question. No, he invited us.
Okay.
And you know why I love Heidi DeRosa? Because she looked at us like, yeah, I'm in. There's not a stick of makeup. There's not a stick. You know how girls got to have your bags? She's all in. So that's why, Mark, she's a gamer, and she's here. And, we were all in the same clothes we had last night, Dan.
You got makeup on?
Makeup is on from yesterday's show. I went straight to airport to Boss JetBlue. My TV didn't work. Almost cried for Monday Night Football. Landed Poppy's restaurant. Bam, here we are. Same makeup on from yesterday.
Can you walk in? We're talking to Kevin Millar, Major League Baseball network analyst. He's staying at Big Poppy's. He had a sleepover. Would you walk in and tell me what's in Big Poppy's refrigerator?
Yeah, hold on. Let me walk in right here. Luis, ¿qué pasó? Yes, Luis drove us out here. So Luis has been with Big Poppy 20 años, which is about 20 years, okay? He's got eggs. Okay. We have fat-free milk. We have heavy cream. We have arroz, pechuga de pollo, arroz blanco, which would be grilled chicken. And then I went to the store last night and bought us, this is no joke, on the way home, I bought us Hostesses. Last time you've had mini frosted donuts.
Okay,
Danny,
that's a sneaky buy late at night, but then you look at it in the morning, and then I think you think differently, right?
You're exactly right. Hey, my navel is hanging over my belt buckle right now.
Hey, play nice though there, okay?
That's it. That's it.
You're not cowboying up though. There's no more shots before the game. You don't do that anymore.
That was last night. We had shots of Jack Daniels last night. One shot, just to toast to the nation.
Wait, was that what you guys did prior to the games in the World Series? You did Jack Daniels?
And remember, it's a symbolic
No.
toast.
I didn't know. I knew that you did, shots. I didn't know what you were doing shots of.
Jack Daniels in Yankee Stadium, Crown Royal in St. Louis. They didn't have Jack Daniels, so we had to keep it going. We're 8-0 after having a symbolic toast.
Man.
Remember our word, you and I? That's our secret?
Yeah.
No one listens to this show anyways, right?
No, they do not.
Just you and I talking?
Just you and me.
Yeah, just you and I. No one's listening.
Well, have fun. Tell
All
Big
right,
Poppy
I'm
we
going to
said
invite
hello.
you for a sleepover in Austin, Texas soon.
Okay. But,
All right, is that deal?
But if I come, then my Danettes come too.
100%, Dan.
Okay, good.
And bring your golf clubs.
I sleep in the nude.
Or shower in the morning.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, boys. We'll see you guys.
That's Kevin Millar. Oh, man, he's a party in a box. Diana Rossini of the Mothership got ties to the Patriots. She had a tweet. I spoke over text with an AFC East head coach on Cam Newton and the Patriots. Quote, I think they're going to keep three quarterbacks, use Cam Newton perhaps as the wild card. I actually don't see him starting week one in the offense. I know one thing for a fact, the Patriots love Jarrett Stidham. So it's Diana Rossini. So, now, by the way, if he's good, the Patriots can franchise him. So imagine you get him for a bargain, and then you franchise him if they want to. Oh, it was back in 2013. Ario doing a little bit of work for a change, and he noticed that I went back and forth with Chris Mannix, and we were talking about the 2013 draft. The Cavaliers had the number one pick, and Anthony Bennett out of UNLV, he was the kind of guy that I could watch UNLV play and not know he was on the floor. But he kind of came out of nowhere, and he was a hot prospect, and the Cavs were going to take him number one overall. This is how it sounded 2013 here on the Dan Patrick Show. Yeah, I don't know about the pick, but, coming off shoulder surgery, he's packed on 20, 25 pounds.
Who would you have picked?
I would have taken Oladipo.
Oh, you're crazy. I want you to somebody save this recording and save that one, because Oladipo, to me, I think he's overrated. I really do. I mean, I think he's a good player if you're picking in the 10 to 12 range, but the fact that Orlando passed up on Ben McLemore for Victor Oladipo just boggles my mind.
Okay, wait a minute. How about we have a bet for dinner? Who becomes an All-Star first, Anthony Bennett or Victor Oladipo?
I'll even take you one step further. I'll say Ben McLemore or Victor Oladipo.
No, I'm not. Oh, no, just our bet. So Chris Mannix never paid up on the bet, but Mannix joins us now. Mannix, got anything to say?
You know, there are occasions that I make good predictions.
When?
May not. None come to mind at the moment.
By the way, your T-shirt says Spain is stacked. That goes back to another one of your great predictions. You were anti-American back then when you said Spain was going to take the gold medal, I think, right?
I just feel like the U.S. team back in 2012 was being given the magic carpet ride to the gold medal. You had to watch out for the Gasol brothers. That's all I was trying to say.
Paulie,
Spain is stacked. I mean, they're a team with, several.
Paulie, do we have any moments where Mannix had a good prediction?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Well, there's still time. Still time, Chris. Okay. But yeah, if you want to pay up on dinner sometime, if we get a chance to get together, and you know what? How about you just ship some steaks there, and then I'll have dinner here and you have dinner there, so we'll have dinner together.
Yeah, we can all. Vermont is open, Dan. We can come on up and we'll.
Cheaper. All right. So we're getting closer to the bubble, and as Paulie used the analogy, it's like when you're getting married. Like you get engaged and then you spend all this time of flowers and you got to have a rehearsal dinner and all that. That's what the NBA's been doing. Now they're getting ready to walk down the aisle here. Now there are real concerns here. How confident are you that that we have an NBA champion this year?
I'm fairly confident we will have an NBA champion this year. At this point, I have no idea what that process is going to look like. I think it's unavoidable to have significant players shut down because of the coronavirus. I think it might be unavoidable to have an entire team decimated because of the spread of coronavirus. This isn't just conjecture, Dan. As someone that covers boxing, I'm watching what Top Rank is going through in Las Vegas, in Nevada, which is one of the best commissions in sports in the States. And they're dealing with fighters dropping out left and right. So I look at that as evidence, and I see 150 people in a Top Rank boxing bubble versus 1,000 plus in an NBA bubble. And I just have to assume that you're going to have outbreaks. The question is going to be, what's the NBA's breaking point? At what point will they say, look, we've got to shut it down for 2 weeks. We'll pick it back up again, but this has to stop.
Yeah, I wonder about the help. Those who come in and clean, those who are cooking, like that. Those people aren't, they're not sequestered here. They're not quarantined. And I wonder about that, though, Chris.
It's a fair question to wonder. And I mean, look, the NBA's got that hotline set up, which is basically a rat line. Like you're just trying to, rat on people that are breaking violations. That's going to happen. I mean, I just can't imagine young people abiding by quarantine rules every hour of every day. I just can't imagine that ultimately happening. So you've got to try to police that as best you can. But that's another potential entry point or possibility of having some kind of infection pass into that bubble. I have to stop calling it a bubble. It's not a bubble, not with this many people going in and out of it.
The Nets, what kind of concerns do you think the league has of them actually fielding a team to go to Orlando?
They'll field a team, but it's gotten kind of goofy in Brooklyn, at least in the mind of some of the people I've talked to at the league level. Like there are things you obviously understand. You understand Avery Bradley dealing with a family issue, Trevor Ariza, a custody issue. Even, to be frank, Davis Bertans, who is on a team that's not going to win anything, saying, you know what, I got a $10 to $12 million per year contract coming my way this offseason. I'm not risking it to go there. But you have Nets players in DeAndre Jordan, Spencer Dinwiddie, that are effectively ruling themselves out of Orlando before the team even travels to Orlando. That's something I think the league has something of a problem with. Nobody's denying that they're dealing with stuff right now, but evidence shows after a couple of weeks, players can get past this and get back onto the court. The Nets, who are a team, by the way, that let's not forget, if they miss the playoffs, they keep their first-round pick. So, a lot of people are wondering if that's in the mind of Brooklyn as they prepare to move forward.
He's Chris Mannix, senior writer for Sports Illustrated. If I told you that a team that consisted of JaVale McGee, Dion Waiters, Rajon Rondo, and J.R. Smith would be competing for a championship this year, be the favorites for a championship this year, what would you have said?
I would have said you're nuts, but you'd have to have told me that LeBron and Anthony Davis were part of that as well. I mean, I don't think JR is going to play. I mean, I look at the Lakers and there's some depth at that guard spot. I mean, Danny Green's a great playoff performer. You look at the plus-minus numbers, Dan. Alex Caruso and LeBron James play excellent together. And Caruso's had one of those quiet, sort of semi-breakout seasons in LA. JR, to me, is break glass in case of emergency. Like, that's who you go to in case another injury happens. The McGee stuff, though, Rob Pelinka spoke yesterday, and we still don't know the status of Dwight Howard yet. And it's amazing. But Dwight Howard will be a huge loss for the Lakers. I mean, he was an 18 to 25 minute per game type of guy that was playing excellent this year. So if he can't go, that takes away some of the Lakers' interior strength. It forces Anthony Davis to play out of position more than he wants to. That, to me, is just as significant a question as Avery Bradley.
Any star players bailing, aside from the ones that we've met? I mean, true star players. I know they have concerns, but is anybody bailing?
No, not that I know of. And, it's the kind of thing you check in with teams with all the time. But at least at the very highest of levels, it's all systems are go for those top-level players. I do believe, from talking to different agents and teams, that there are still some, mid-level role-type players for different reasons that are considering not going. But the highest of level guys, they are all still going.
You think we're starting in 4 weeks?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think – I think it'll be interesting to see what happens in that quarantine period where NBA teams go down there and they're in Orlando, but they're not in the bubble, just yet. And, by the time the season starts, could we see a run on infections during the travel time when teams are down there? But unless there is a massive outbreak, Dan, the NBA is going to start their season. I know it's cost them a lot of money to be down there. I heard, Brian Windhorst say this the other day, but it is $150 million, $1.5 million per day to go down there. But they'd lose so much more if they didn't go through with this. They would have to effectively terminate their collective bargaining agreement. They'd have to start from scratch next year because of all the losses. They're almost too big to fail at this point.
Thanks for being a good sport. We appreciate you giving us content. Thank you, Chris.
I'm not going to be your bubble correspondent, Dan. You were too mean yesterday.
How about a playoff prediction?
Blazers, Sixers in the finals.
Whoa. Okay. You, if you get one right, I'll wipe out the dinner bet.
No, but you also have to go back to a previous bet where I get to host the show and you sit in Paulie's chair.
Yeah, I'd sit there and not do anything. I mean, I'm that confident. I mean, Paulie does it well
every day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you, Chris.
Kills it.
My
You got it, Dan.
my bubble boy. That's Chris Mannix, senior writer, Sports Illustrated, joining us. Spain is stacked. Spain is stacked.
That shirt is so good.
It is. It is good. All right. Yeah, I got some concerns there, but hey, maybe they can pull this off. By the way, among the players drafted number 1 overall in the last decade, only Anthony Bennett and Zion Williamson have not scored at least 1,000 career points. Of course, Zion has only played 19 games. Anthony Bennett's career is over. Thank you.
Stat of the day. Stat of the day. Stat of the day. Here comes that
what?
Stat of the day. Stop.
All right, final hour. We'll talk to Marv Albert. The Hall of Fame voice of the NBA is not going to Orlando. Got health concerns. So we'll talk to Marv. More phone calls coming up as well. 2 hours in the books. One more to go. Seton, Paulie, Fritzy, McLovin. Yours truly, right here on The Dan Patrick Show. right, let me practice this. We've had many great Jewish basketball players in the man cave through the years. Amari Stoudemire, Doug Gottlieb, Adam Sandler. But the best Jewish basketball player to ever be in the man cave is Andrew McLovin Perloff.
Wait, Dan ranked McLovin ahead of me in the all-time great Jewish basketball players to enter the man cave?
Magic.
He always talks about playing college ball. It usually takes a while till he mentions it was 2 years at JV at Dartmouth.
I mean, I know his brother played on the same team as Kobe Bryant, but for Andrew to say that he taught Kobe everything he knows, I'm not buying that.
Am not surprised. The mainline reform is honoring McLovin as the Jewish basketball player of the year. Really?
Sort of.
Dolph Schayes, Ernie Grunfeld, John Shire. I put McLovin right up there with those guys. I don't, but it says it on this piece of paper.
I ended my college basketball career 7th all-time in assists, but had I had McLovin, I would have been top 3, and no one told me to say that.
Have a great night, McLovin. We're so sort of proud of you.
I'm back. Everybody's favorite Mario here with some tweets now. Shout out to everybody listening, except that group that chats in our YouTube channel. Anyways, so here's just some reaction to Jeremy Pruitt's interview via Twitter. So this one's from Husker Jim. Husker Jim simply puts it as Kyler Murray greater than Jeremy Pruitt. So if you know, Kyler Murray's interview we had at Super Bowl a couple years ago didn't go too well, but apparently it went better than Jeremy Pruitt's today. Next, Mike Perryman. That is the personality of Jeremy Pruitt. This is why fans of the SEC believe he is cheating his butt off in recruiting. Ooh. Allegations. Wild allegations there, Mike. Next up, we got Joel. Joel goes, Pruitt on DP show was wonderfully awkward, and DP and Danette's response after was golden, even as a UT fan. So apparently it didn't even go well in Knoxville, Rocky Top. But I do agree. The reaction afterward was really funny. And this is the final one that I got. This is from Tanner Swift. Tanner Swift. DP show. Would have rather have heard about Qualcomm again instead of watched that Jeremy Pruitt interview. That's all we got. I'm sure you guys enjoyed seeing me again, right? Until next time.
buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
I love Dan Patrick. Oh, my God. He's one of my favorites.
Bringing you the biggest stories.
The Danettes, they have had discussions here of who has the biggest head.
And heads.
Where do you think Ross Tucker ranks?
He's the Michael Jordan of big
Whoa.
heads. It's not even really that close.
Okay.
I got to go with Ross.
Oh, yeah, it's Ross.
Yeah, I got to go with Ross.
Okay. All right. Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave.
Your neck to head ratio in life is very important. So I lift my neck multiple times a week just so I don't look like a bobblehead when I'm on with you.
This is Dan Patrick.
I was just taking a victory lap because one of the great purchases of my life is in the man cave. I bought a disco ball, and I didn't know how to use it. But I bought it for the American Unathletic Association of America, our 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and I thought it would be great for player introductions. I bought a smoke machine, too, for player introductions. And then, of course, the pandemic happened, and just like all the other great sports leagues, we were put on hold here. We have no time frame for when we will resume the AUAA. But I saw this disco ball, and I said, I got to have it. And we've been using the disco ball when Mario reads some of the tweets on the air. And we have a segment on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show, giving him a little airtime. Marvin, who answers the phones, getting a little airtime as well, reading emails. So that disco ball, man, it's going to come in handy. And you can't have a bad day if you have a disco ball, can you? When that starts spinning and the light hits it, although we're going to find out if you can have a bad day. But as for now, I love me some disco ball. It brings back some decent memories. Yeah, Paul.
Now, you were a rock DJ, an FM rock DJ in the mid to late 70s.
Oh, yeah.
Were you anti-disco, or were you kind of in between?
I don't think I was anti, but it wasn't going to be in my my music repertoire. I appreciated the Bee Gees. I truly appreciated their ability to sound like that, and they came up with great hits, and they had great hair. But I wasn't adverse to disco because, they had Disco Demolition Night at Comiskey Park many, many, many decades ago, and, of course, it was disastrous. But no, I'm okay with disco. I don't have any real adverse feelings to it. I'm open to just about anything. Anybody have a disco problem here? I see some cringing faces there. Seton O'Connor, disco, not on your music list?
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's not on my music list necessarily. Yeah. But I don't know that all disco is created equally.
But if Donna Summer comes on,
she's great,
right?
Great. Bee Gees are great.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the Bee Gees were great, but it felt like America consumed them so quickly, and they spit them out quickly right after that. They had a 2 or 3 year window, or maybe 4 years, where it was like Bee Gees were big, and then all of a sudden America went, no, this doesn't.
Too big, too fast, maybe, or something like that.
This doesn't taste good. Yes, Paul.
I remember my mom liking the Bee Gees a lot, which made me think they were not cool. And I was looking for anything that she thought was too loud. If my mom thought it was too loud, I would buy those records.
But did we go into hair bands after that, right after disco? Or it was big hair, then grunge?
Yeah, it was big hair, then grunge, but just before the big hair thing,
yeah,
I'm not really sure. Disco was in there somewhere, yeah.
It went disco to MTV.
Oh, you know what? Actually, there was sort of like in between disco and maybe MTV was sort of, I know that's when like the Sex Pistols and all that happened.
Oh, okay. But that didn't last that long, did it?
No,
Okay.
it didn't. But that took you into, say, like the early 80s.
Okay. And yes, McLovin.
You guys are forgetting about synth rock, sort of like the Keytar stage. Like the synths went from disco to rock bands and ruined music for about 10 years, right? All those terrible
Are you calling out Rush?
No. Rush is not synth
You mean like
rock.
new wave? Like Paul, you're
Like,
into
Depeche Mode.
No, that's harder. Like guys put it with a piano on a guitar strap, like Revenge of the Nerds.
guitar.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
more
the
like
guitar.
a Hall & Oates. Well, like, if you look at like 1980, disco was pretty much dying. If you look at the 1982 Billboard top charts, the top songs were "Physical" by Olivia Newton-John, "Eye of the Tiger" by Survivor, "I Love Rock and Roll" by Joan Jett, "Centerfold" by Jay Giles. Fritzy must be loving this.
This is awesome.
A lot of John Cougar, Human League, Hall & Oates, Rick Springfield, Foreigner. That was big in '82.
Yes, Todd.
I remember watching Andy Gibb and Marilyn McCoo counting down the solid gold 1981 hits. Number 3 was Kiss on My List. Number 2 was Let's Get Physical, Olivia Newton-John. And number 1, Kim Carnes.
Betty Davis
Betty
Eyes.
Davis Eyes at number 1 in 1981.
Thank you, Todd.
You're welcome.
All righty. Welcome to the program, final hour. We've had a roller coaster ride here today. Yes, Eden.
That makes me think of like I always knew it was summer vacation. That when we got in the car for some reason, Casey Kasem's Countdown was on, and that was like the sound of summer to me. That meant we were driving, either to Vermont on vacation or going down the Jersey Shore or wherever it was we were going. We would always, for some reason, we would get in the car, and I remember listening to Casey Kasem, and that was like, oh man, it's summer.
And you have that Sirius XM channel 70s on 7, and each Sunday, I think, they replay Casey Kasem that week back in the 70s with his Countdown. And the fact that who would have thought you would be repurposing Casey Kasem, but they are, and it's great. It's just great to hear Case. Let me see. All right, where are we? So we talked to Tennessee head football coach Jeremy Pruitt. Well, I asked questions. Rob Manfred, the baseball commissioner, joined us. Chris Mannix talked about the bubble, and Marv Albert, Hall of Famer, will join us coming up. We'll get to phone calls. We got a poll question there, McLovin, we're staying with, or are we changing it up for the final hour?
So the poll question the first 2 hours was, would you like a 100-game MLB season? 63% said yes.
Well, we had the commissioner on, and he said that it's not happening, that it's 162, and he believes in the historical aspect of that. He said 154, which is what it used to be. Then it went to 162. He also said that basically they had a 60-game schedule, and that was it. They weren't budging off of that. And he does think they got to get the World Series in, playoffs in, because there's going to be a second wave coming back around. That's according to the commissioner. Yes, McLevin?
I've been trying to push this poll, but I guess it's only for media members. But if you were a media member, would you want to go to the bubble? I keep bringing that question up because it just seems so restrictive as a young
Am I
person.
single? Am I married?
I'll give you 25. You don't have a family yet. Because obviously if you have a family, it's a different story.
Yeah, I would probably go if I was just starting out in this business. But I don't know how much access you're going to have there. And basically you're going to be hanging around guys who do the same thing you do.
Who's going to pay for it? I mean, it sounds so expensive. 3 months of being on the company dime. I can't imagine many journalists can afford this on their own.
Well, they can't. They can't. But, how important is this to whoever your boss is, that content that you're going to have? You have to be able to say, I'm going to get content that is going to be worth the price of me going down there to Orlando.
Media outlets are not about spending money these days.
No, they're not. A couple other synth pop, Duran Duran and The Cure also in there.
Both great.
Duran Duran, yeah. The Cure, I should like more, but I don't. I think I had a problem because he had eye makeup on and his hair looked like he was Edward Scissorhands.
His lipstick smeared all over his face. Love it.
I never
love it.
Yeah, but it's kind of glam rock or something like that. But then I was okay with Bowie dressing up the way he did
Right.
Ziggy Stardust. But that was 70s. I was different then.
Saw The Cure like 3 years ago, maybe at Austin City Limits, and it was awesome to see him come walking out with that pancake makeup face and his lipstick all in his hair all over. You're like, dude, Robert's still doing it.
I know.
Oh my God, it was great.
Yes, McLovin.
When I was in high school, there were these kids who listened to The Smiths and The Cure, and they would wear black raincoats and be on Smokers Row.
Yep.
And they were all Seton. I know Paulie's halfway there. But I don't know if you guys had that in high school. Like the Smiths and Cure fans were a separate lot.
That wasn't in my wheelhouse.
Yeah. Well, I think for my age group, it was more like the grunge kids.
Yeah.
So it was still kids listening to the Smiths and the Cure and then like Nirvana, but still, trench coat, smoking cigarettes, etc. That smokers row thing didn't change at all. Standing right across the street from the school because if you stepped on school grounds, you got demerits.
Yeah.
So you just went across the street and smoked 5 cigarettes real quick before school.
Yeah, Paul.
Dan, I was uncool even in the uncool group. The kids who listen to Cure and Smiths and all those bands, I love those bands. They were my favorite. But they were wearing black stuff and boots and Doc Martens, and I was there wearing a pair of khaki pants and a Lacoste shirt. I was the dork in the group of dorks.
Oh.
Not kidding.
Man, high school was so tough. You're just trying to fit in. And I was, a pretty good athlete. And even then, I didn't quite fit in. For some reason, I was always on the fringes. And I didn't like high school wasn't great. Yeah, McLovin.
But if you're happy, and I think this is in a John Hughes movie, if you're happy in high school, you're doomed to a life of disappointment.
Yeah, it means you peaked.
Oh, there were guys, there were people who definitely peaked. Like there were girls who peaked, there were guys who peaked, and I kept thinking, one of these days I'm going to peak. And I'm still waiting, because one of these days I'm going to peak.
Like Kevin Costner.
Yes, I'm going to peak. All righty, a couple of phone calls in here. Let me see. Suzanne in New York joins us on the program. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm good, Suzanne. What's on your mind today?
First time, long time, 6 feet, pre-COVID, hard 175.
All right.
I just wanted to thank y'all for entertaining us during this pandemic. It's been really helpful and to have a clear, sane voice to listen to every day.
But I do want to remind people when they thank us for being entertaining during the pandemic, we've been entertaining before the pandemic. Like,
haven't we? Or no?
I don't know. I get this feeling that once the pandemic is over, people are going to go, I'm out of here.
Oh, it's just out of like extreme boredom that they're like, wow, these guys are actually pretty funny.
And I'm stuck in my house with nothing to do. You guys are kind of entertaining.
Anytime there's a pandemic, I'm going to tune in.
Yes.
No, that's not it at all.
The Dan Patrick Show. We're great during a pandemic. You're bored to death? Tune in to the Dan Patrick Show.
When there's nothing else going on.
Yeah, ... What else, Suzanne?
No, listen, I share a birthday with the big German kid, so if you'd make my day if you told me happy birthday.
All righty. Well, happy birthday, Suzanne. It's Eric, the big German, who directs the show on YouTube.com, or at least tries to. It's his birthday today as well. So, Suzanne, happy birthday, and thank you for calling in, and glad we could entertain you. Yes, McLovin.
That was a close cousin of, I broke my leg and I've been in traction, so I was forced to watch you on a hospital bed because I couldn't turn the channel.
Well, I've gotten a couple of those surgery guys. Hey, I've been at home, got surgery, and stumbled upon the show.
We're very traction friendly. You're in traction, we're your show. Give me the remote. Nope.
Yeah. Oh, we leave you in stitches. Literally. Yes, Todd.
Usually the batteries die in the remote and you're forced to kind of keep it on. And for weeks on end, there's nothing you can do to change the channel. You can't get up.
Thank you, Todd.
You're welcome.
Jacob in Virginia.
Again, one of those moments where I didn't raise my hand.
That's what you miss.
I was another calling on me without me raising my hand. It's the best I could do there. Suzanne's out. She's not watching anymore. Suzanne's done with the show.
That's what you're going to miss when the pandemic is over.
If they find a cure, we're in trouble.
Yes. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, DP, 6 foot 145, a longtime listener before the pandemic, so pre-pandemic.
Oh, good. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Just want to throw out, going off kind of what Maddox was saying, how much the Lakers roster now is resembling a Cleveland Cavaliers lineup from when LeBron was, going through all the finals, where you kind of got a bunch of role players and I guess throw Anthony Davis in place of Kyrie and you got a championship team, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And you're right, Jacob. Thanks for the phone call, because I would look at those Cleveland Cavalier teams that LeBron had, and the fact he got to an NBA Finals is truly remarkable with that team. I rewatched the decision last night, and when you realize the Knicks had LeBron, all they had to do was not screw it up. That was it. And they did. And imagine if LeBron had gone to New York. Now, Cleveland still would have hated him, But he would have made the Knicks relevant. And you would have had free agents who would have gone to play with LeBron because he's a player you want to play with because he shares the ball. Then he goes to Miami. The fact that he knew right after it was over, social media was coming after him. And nobody was celebrating when they flew to Miami. And Chris Bosh is going there and Dwayne Wade's going there. Now, they didn't help themselves with the Boys to Men press conference with the smoke show and not 1 and not 2 and not 3. And, okay, he's 25. He's having fun. Like, the things that we nitpick about LeBron, we would never even mention with other marquee athletes. Never. But with LeBron, he's taking his talents to South Beach. Kobe years earlier was taking his talents to the NBA as a high schooler and has sunglasses on his head and nobody said anything. LeBron, I'm taking my talents to South Beach. All right. I know. Yes, McLovin.
Is it the South Beach part of it? Like, what part of it was so...
taking my talents.
Yeah, I feel like the South Beach part didn't help too because that sort of evokes like something, like a celebrity party. Whereas Kobe... What did Kobe say? I'm taking my
talents to the NBA.
A little more.
But he even had that, I'm taking my talents to, and then he paused, and he paused, and he paused, and he paused, and then, like he was going to go to college. Yes, he.
But LeBron already had so many more things. I mean, I'm not a LeBron hater at all. I'm very much a LeBron supporter. But he was already the chosen one. He was leaving, Cleveland to join a super team to try and win a title. Like, he just had all of these things that were kind of stacked against him that, Kobe was just a high school kid taking his talents to the NBA,
Yeah.
Whereas LeBron was the chosen one who, couldn't get it done there, but now you're going to go over here to do it. Like, there was just all of these crappy storylines around him.
And you could see the frustration when LeBron would get eliminated in the playoffs because he kept looking around going, I'm never going to beat these teams by myself. And nobody wants to go to Cleveland. People didn't want to go there with Dan Gilbert. He tried to get Chris Bosh to go to Cleveland. And Bosh is like, nope, I got a direct flight from Toronto to Miami. Yeah, Paul.
LeBron gets criticized for jumping to different teams, but imagine if he stayed in Cleveland and he's 15 years in and didn't have a title. Imagine the criticism he would get the title of greatest athlete never to win one. And that's the worst title. I'd rather have a lot of criticism.
And he gets criticized because he gets to the finals and he loses. But this is an old tradition that we bash the team that loses in a championship game. We rarely celebrate. Butler, we celebrated. When Butler went to back-to-back title games, then that's like a win for Butler. But when the Buffalo Bills lost those 4 Super Bowls, we don't credit them for going to 4 consecutive Super Bowls, which will never happen again. It was always, you lost the Super Bowl, you guys are bums. He loses the NBA Finals. Oh, Jordan never lost. He's getting to more NBA Finals than Mike ever did. And he might end up getting to the finals more than anybody else. Yeah, McLovin.
But there's always that idea that one conference is so much stronger than the other that it does. Like, that's what the Broncos and the Bills were like. The AFC was down for a long time. So the Broncos would get out of a bad AFC. Same with LeBron in that early
I know,
East.
but you have to play the teams that are in front of you on your schedule. Like, you can't go, hey, don't. Like, when Buffalo got there, so there's no other good team.
Yeah, the AFC was bad then. Yeah, that's what's the thing.
Do we hold that against the Patriots?
Oh, I do. The AFC East.
Well, you do.
Watch Tom. Tom's going to regret leaving that AFC East.
Yes, Todd.
I don't think Elway got too criticized for 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. They got destroyed in those. But I don't think he
killed.
I don't think
he got killed. He couldn't win the big one.
I thought it was more of like the Broncos as a team. Oh, that team again. We just lost 39-20 and then 42-10. Now 55-10. I don't remember it being all so much on Elway's shoes.
Yes, McLovin.
There's a running joke in The Simpsons about how the Denver Broncos can't walk and chew gum at the same time in the late 80s. They get killed.
Oh, yeah.
And you're right.
But they would get blown out. That was the problem. If you got to the Super Bowl and you got blown out, you were forgotten. You were left for dead. Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, Elway was 0-3, and the third Super Bowl, he had 2 picks. I mean, it was tough times. You could find stories.
Yeah, McLovin.
Do you think LeBron would have won, though, if he found a way to get players there eventually? He obviously did win in Cleveland. if he had never left at some point, don't you think he could have gotten somewhere to go there? I mean, he obviously won one there.
Well, he had Kyrie, and you have Kevin Love. So Kyrie is there. If LeBron doesn't leave, then Kyrie is not taken by the Cavaliers because they won't have the number one pick. And then they used another number one pick. Was that Wiggins, who they sent to Minnesota to get Kevin Love? So he helped build the Cavs accidentally by leaving so they could get Kyrie Irving and then coming back. And then they had some, collateral that they could send to Minnesota to get Kevin Love. But that's the only way they got people. Yeah, Paul.
Going back to Elway, not to pile on because he is one of the all-time greatest. He was 0 for 3 in the Super Bowl. In the third Super Bowl, he was 10 of 26 with 108 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. And then he went 7 more years without appearing in the Super Bowl. Elway's career is drastically changed by those last 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's Captain Obvious, but you got to look at it at the time.
Thanks to Terrell Davis. I mean, I think Terrell Davis, you can say is largely responsible for how Elway is now perceived because they ran the football, they ran it down the throats in the opposition in those Super Bowls, especially Green Bay. But if they don't win, then Elway is not in the conversation as, greatest quarterback. I mean, he's not the greatest quarterback. I think he's as talented, if not more talented, than any quarterback I ever saw. And a game on the line, Elway would, if you say, hey, you're taking Montana or Marino or Brady or Russell Wilson, and you give me Elway, I'm good with that. All right, we'll take a break. More phone calls coming up. We'll check in with Marv Albert. He's not going to the bubble in Orlando. How concerned is he about this season getting off to a good start and maybe seeing it through to completion? 22 after the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show.
I think we talked about it off air. I think my therapist does a great job of erasing from my memory bank anything 04 related. So,
did you go to therapy for that?
No. I joke.
It didn't get that bad.
No, it was. It stings though. I mean, you know what? We've had a lot of success. We've had failure. But the one when you lose like that sticks with you more than the winning. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like it's
well, some don't enjoy winning as much as they hate losing.
Yeah, like the winning is a relief. It's like, wow, thank God, and it was awesome. It's spectacular. But when you have a situation like we had there in control, I mean, that whole series, a lot of things happened in it, where we had an opportunity from a decision-making standpoint. I think, Schilling, we never bunted on when he had the bad leg. They switched catchers because of a situation. I can't remember why, but their backup catcher was always the knuckleball receiver. Can't think of his name off the top of my head. So, but for some reason, Veritek winds up catching,
yes,
their knuckleballer, Wakefield, and that's a pure opportunity because he couldn't do it too well. So we could have, been jackrabbits all over the base pass. We chose not to. We lost Olerud with a Liz Franck fracture on a check swing, and that put our backup Tony Clark in the game. And so there's a lot of things that happen that, losers talk about, and we lost the series. And
do you really think Schilling had the bloody sock?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to believe it. He had surgery and all that stuff.
I don't know. Satan O'Connor over there still doesn't buy into that.
The alleged bloody sock.
The alleged bloody sock.
No,
and it's not around anymore. It was thrown in the laundry.
I don't follow the Red Sox lore, especially in 04, so it's a whole bad memory. The whole situation was something that, again, we're up 3-0, and this is, I tell you, in sports that, no matter what arena you're in, high school, college, pro, a little bit probably set in at our fault where, that third win of the 4-game series that we had, the 7-game series we had, but first of 4, we closed out game 3 in Fenway and crushed them. I don't know, it was 17-3 or 6 or something. I mean, it was a blowout. Yeah. And I think maybe, I know the Red Sox players were congratulating our players in pregame, in Game 4 in the as they're passing
I tell people
hey man,
that.
good luck in the World Series.
That is true, right?
Yes,
because I
is
tell
true.
people that, and they go, "There is no way." Red Sox fans go, "There's no way." I said, I saw them, and even talked to one of the Yankees who said they just said congratulations.
Yeah, they're like, dude, good luck in the postseason and in the World Series and this, that, and the other thing. And it turns out they're doing shots before every game as a I guess rallying cry. Whatever it took, it happened. The series started to change, and things. That's why things can change on a dime. Whether it's the last quarter and you're up and you gotta close things out, and we didn't. And for whatever reasons, but that again, lessons learned, I guess. And hopefully, if we're ever in a situation like that again, we will handle it even better than we did.
All right, first of all, I want to say congratulations to Dan. I'm told he's somewhere in the Carolinas. Dan in the Carolinas is the winner.
What do you want?
Scoreboard. I want you to be part of this for a minute.
Why?
Because I like when you play along. All right, number 97. Ready? The clue is that bites. That bites. Something sports related.
That would be Tyson and Holyfield.
1997, on this day, Nevada Athletic
What is
Commission
the segment?
suspends Tyson indefinitely, withholds the $20 million purse for biting Holyfield's ear during their heavyweight title fight on June 28th. And the next number is 23. The clue is say hello to Hollywood. Instead of say goodbye to Hollywood, Billy Joel, say hello to Hollywood. What happened with number 23 2 years ago?
LeBron James says hello to Hollywood.
LeBron James agrees to a 4-year, $154 million deal with the Lakers, moving on again from the Cleveland Cavaliers. There you go. Mike Tyson, Holyfield bite related. LeBron heads to the Lakers. Booyah. What? What is that groan over there? I heard the groan. That was very loud, yeah. And my hearing's not great, and I heard it. No, that's not what it was at all. It was, really, I got to be part of the scope.
More phone calls coming up. I think we got a busy show tomorrow as well. Don Mattingly is going to join us.
Duncan Robinson of the Heat.
You didn't even know. You make it sound like you know who he is.
He came from like Division III, starts hitting a bunch of three-pointers.
Two weeks ago, you didn't know who he was. And then I said, he's got an unbelievable backstory.
And did a little research. It sounds like someone worth having on the show.
Yeah, you should do more of that.
Tony Clark's coming on tomorrow, MLB Executive Director of Players Association.
All right, let me go conspiracy theorist.
Oh, boy.
Who was booked first? Tony Clark or Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred?
That would be Tony Clark for tomorrow.
Do you think?
Yes.
Okay. I believe you. I think it was a reactionary booking that the Baseball Commissioner's office. Did you say we were having Tony Clark on Thursday?
I may have mentioned that.
Okay, that's good job by you, Todd. Good job by you. And you tracked down Marv Albert, NBA on TNT, Hall of Fame broadcaster, and apparently not going to the bubble. Marv, thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
Good, Dan. How are you and your entire crew?
Everybody's
doing in
good.
these crazy times.
How difficult was it to make that decision to not go to Orlando to do the games?
Well, I was getting actually very excited about the challenge, after it had been discussed how it would be set up, et cetera. But I started to have second thoughts, particularly with the spike recently in Florida. And I felt to be practical, then I was not sure what I was going to do. And then Jeff Zucker, the president of Warner Media, called, and we discussed it. And he thought the right move would be to pass up on it, and I agree. I'd love to be there, but I think in my my age group, there are more possibilities. It's a higher risk. But the 79 is the new 78. You realize that?
Todd.
So
I had my mic.
Yeah, I'll be watching it. I hope it gets off. I think that the bubble concept and the parameters set up by Commissioner Adam Silver are on target, but the virus is extremely challenging, particularly in as we all know, in Florida.
But I wondered, I thought initially, and maybe I misread this with Kevin Harlan, that maybe you guys were going to do it from Atlanta, broadcast from there, and watch the games on a monitor. Was that ever a possibility?
That was one of the possibilities, and I think that Turner and ESPN changed their mind. That would bring me back to my early days, like when I was 11 years old, getting interested in sports broadcasting. I would turn down the sound on the TV, and I would do it on my Wollensack tape recorder. Be it basketball, baseball. I was very versatile at that time. And I actually got a crowd record. There was an announcer by the name of Les Kiter. I don't know if you know that name.
No.
Yeah, he did a lot of championship fights. He did the Knicks for a year or two. Then did quite a bit of basketball in Philadelphia. But he would do recreations the year after the Dodgers and Giants moved to the West Coast of the games, and in a New York studio on WINS in New York, and would use the crowd sounds. And I did it one year doing the Syracuse Chiefs in Syracuse, and the road games, to save money, were done off a ticker with crowd sounds. And if there was a delay on the ticker, suddenly there might be a slight rainstorm at the ballpark. That actually did not happen. So I thought we might be going back to those days. But no, they're hoping, if all works out, to do it. There'll be, I guess, 3 venues, and it could be as many as 7 games a day. I thought, before this surge came in Florida, I thought the NBA had the best chance, best plan. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think baseball will have a problem, although they're going to put the teams in, into regions. For example, the Mets, Yankees, Boston, Philly, et cetera. But they're staying at hotels, and it's not going to be the kind of bubble that the NBA is set up. And things can happen even, with that bubble. And as far as, NFL and college football, it's a contact sport. I don't know how they're going to pull that off. Hockey too, it's going to be tough, very tough.
Yeah.
Hope they work it out, but it's going to be tough.
How many NBA games have you called in your career?
I've never counted. It must be, it's thousands, I would guess.
5,000, 10,000?
Probably about 5, somewhere in that range, maybe more.
What was the greatest performance you ever called? Greatest individual performance you ever called?
Well, for several reasons, because of the condition he was in, the Michael Jordan, quote, flu or bad pizza game, in the finals against Utah, what he accomplished when you watched him, and people in the stands didn't know what was happening. We were informed that he was not feeling well; he was sick, but he was hunched over. He was helped to the bench constantly, and I don't recall the totals from the box score, but he was extraordinary. I've never seen that type of performance in a big game. I'm sure players have been ill, while they played, but what he did under those conditions, just to me is the best performance I've ever seen. But more so because of his health at the time. There've been so many. Between Michael, LeBron, and Bird, you go right through it. Walt, Clyde Frazier, Willis Reed, back to those days.
Well, you bring up Clyde Frazier. We're talking to Marv Albert. I still think that Clyde Frazier's performance in Game 7 against the Lakers in 1970 is one of the more underrated performances in the history of the game because Willis Reed, I think he scored 4 points, but the emotional lift, and he was named the MVP of the finals. I think Clyde Frazier put in 36 points, 18 assists. That sound about right, Marv?
Yeah, I think it was 36-19, and then a number of
6 assists, 6 steals.
Yeah. Well, Clyde will agree with you. But no, I do also, and I thought it was an emotional vote because of the inspirational aspect of what Willis did. He was not supposed to play, and he actually did not play in Game 6, and the Knicks got killed. Chamberlain had a big game, but Willis was not supposed to play and walks out, and the Lakers during the warm-ups and came out late just before the anthem, and the Lakers just stopped and stared. They couldn't. I never forget Chamberlain and West, just looking over. They couldn't believe he was coming out to the. I mean, they were really affected by that. And then he goes out, and it was the loudest crowd I've ever heard, at probably anywhere. When he stepped onto the court, and I ended up doing his couple of warm-up shots, and they were going nuts when he hit like a corner jump or a jumper from the foul line, and then he hits his first 2 shots and he's limping around the court, and just hung in there to rebound and box out. He didn't put up the numbers, but the rest of the team, and that was just a great group. It reminds me of. Similar to the Celtics of their great years and the Lakers and the San Antonio Spurs and the Warriors, the way they move the ball, pass the ball, a very smart team, similar to all those teams. It was Bill Bradley and Willis and Dave DeBusschere and Dick Barnett and Clyde and a couple of guys off the bench. He didn't play many bench players. So it captured New York, too, because, first of all, it's their first championship. And that's a team that would have won many more had they not had injuries. They won one other. They beat the Lakers in 5 a couple of years after that.
Yeah, 73. I think, was Willis Reed the MVP of that finals too?
No, he was hurt.
Okay.
They had Jerry Lucas at that time.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Playing center. They traded him for Cassie Russell. But it was Willis MVP. No, he didn't get. He was on the bench, but he didn't get the vote.
Yeah, no. I thought maybe he'd still get it.
No.
Yeah. Hey, you'll be missed, but I think you're making the smart decision there, as tough as it must be for you, and it's great to catch up with you, Marv.
Thanks, Dan. Always good talking to you. I appreciate it.
That's Marv Albert, Hall of Famer, lead announcer for the NBA on TNT. I'm looking at the numbers here for Jordan. Jordan played 44 minutes. In Game 5, 1997 finals. He was 13-27. He had a couple of 3-pointers, ended up with 38 points. 38 points, 5 steals, 7 rebounds. But keep the flu game. Food poisoning? Now it's just another game. It's food poisoning. Flu? Just... The whole Air Jordan thing, flu, spelled differently, obviously. That's why I think he had altitude sickness. I do. Yeah, Paul.
I know we talked about this ad nauseum, pardon the pun, but what would be the reason to change the story? There's nothing negative about getting the flu. Or does Jordan look at it as like, I'm invincible, I don't get the flu, someone else had to do that?
No, I think it's about, there's almost like a plot to poison him.
Right, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he had to blame somebody else. It can't be him being sick. Someone got me sick.
Yes.
Is it that maniacal?
I have no idea. Yes.
Like, it can't be me. I don't get sick. I'm Jordan.
No. Yes, McLovin.
Are we sure these stats are right? I don't remember him missing a shot in that game
or
any other finals game.
When we did the highlights that night, he did not miss a shot, I don't think. We added those together. Mike never missed a game-winning shot. Never. I just wonder... When you're like that with Michael Jordan, what Michael Jordan does, it's about winning. It's winning little battles. It's little wars, big battles, big wars. And I wonder where how he is going to be, not survive, but you embrace it. Or I mean, that's why I always bring this up. But there's certain guys who have, like Lance Armstrong is Lance Armstrong. He's not changing. Pete Rose is not changing. Roger Clemens not changing. Barry Bonds not changing. Michael Jordan not changing. That's how they got there. But they have to live in that world. And while you say, well, that, yeah, they make all that money, and no, they do. I don't know if they're happy because they were all about winning. It'd be winning an at-bat. It'd be winning a game, winning a rivalry, winning a championship. And that's where I feel like if you said you can be like Michael or be like LeBron, I'd be like LeBron in a second. I think LeBron enjoys his life. I don't know if Michael does because he can't turn that off. It's always there. He's always looking for that. Yeah, Paul.
But is there any chance it's the opposite? Michael's oblivious and thinks, this is fantastic. I love being me and I love being better than you. And he never thinks about or doubts himself.
Well, he might not doubt himself, but I think he's stuck in that world, that this is what made him great, and he can't get out of that world. We watched and we marveled, but, you know, that guy made cameos in my life, but I didn't know what he was like. You know, I heard it was tiring to be around him for a long period of time. Tiring. Because everything was a competition. Everything. The fact that he spit on his pizza when he went to use the bathroom so the other guys in the room wouldn't eat his pizza, whether you believe that or not, the detail that he's gone into just to prove that he had food poisoning. Can never turn it off. It's like with Pete Rose. He was so competitive, and then he became a manager. Well, he can't play, so he gambled. Like that was his competition. Like you just have to. Mike loves to gamble. Like you got to have something. This has to be for something. You ever been around people where you go, let's just play golf? No, we got to play for money. And I go, I don't want to play for money. It brings out the bad Danny. You don't want to see the bad Danny. By the way, when I'm doing an interview, you got to turn your microphone.
I forgot to shut my mic. We were doing the little Manfred Clark thing, and I forgot to shut my mic. That was my bad. I got no pleasure out of interrupting your interview with Marv Albert there. I was laughing at the 79's the new 78. Oh.
Yeah, sorry. Got to pull the curtain on Todd. Yeah, Paul.
Dan, in case you missed it, it sounded like this.
The 79 is the new 78. You realize
Todd.
I had my mic.
Yeah, I'll be watching it. I hope it gets off. I think that.
I like how you made a mistake, and then you keep your mic on to tell me that you've got your mic on.
I continued talking through. I'm not supposed to talk right now.
The laugh was so great.
The 79 is the new 78. You realize
You know what? That's Bill Hader. When Bill Hader did his Keith Morrison.
Very eerily similar to that.
Yes.
I felt bad. I forgot that my mic was on.
Yes, Paul.
Todd just blew a perfect game. He had 4 good guests.
Yeah.
He had a couple really nice lines on air and a couple good jokes.
I think 3 good guests.
Well, Pruitt, we didn't know what to expect, but Todd did a really good job today, and then he lost it in the 9th, gave up a two-run double.
We're giving him credit for Mannix today. I mean, he was fun, but that's not a hard
I'm sorry.
Funny segment.
Yeah, but Todd can book him anytime he wants.
Yeah. All right,
Still batting 500, though.
We'll come back. We'll close up shop here right after this on the Dan Patrick Show. Have you heard my third strike call?
Oh, I want to hear it.
Ha!
Love it.
What do you think?
I love it.
But I got to get, it's one left hand is ha! It's ripping the phone book is what I like to do. So I turn, ha! So it's just like that.
I love it.
Paulie, you want to do yours?
I don't have one, Dan. I like yours too much.
Seton, do you have one?
I don't think I can have that.
I always loved Ken Kaiser, where you could be busting your butt to try to stretch a single into a double, and then you get tagged out like 5 feet, and it just always felt like Ken Kaiser would just like
Yep.
His left arm would go down like you're so sad. You're out. Like he'd just be kind of he just ha. Yeah. Yes, Fritzy.
It wasn't Dutch Renner very theatrical
Yeah,
on every strike? I don't know how he kept up that energy.
Dutch
for
Renner was because you can't do it on all the strikes. I can't. But that last one when I'm punching you out.
Oh, it better be
I
something
got to bring
special.
some noise.
Absolutely. But what's embarrassing is when they do it with 2 strikes, because that has happened. They forget. But then they probably get to do it twice.
Oh, yeah. And then they'll do it right after that. Big day today. Flannery beef shipment has arrived. And we are in business with boneless short ribs.
Hey guys, this week our friends at Flannery Beef sent us over a boneless short rib. I'm really excited about this one. I really love boneless short rib. This marbling in this piece of meat is unbelievable. This fat is gonna render down. It's gonna add so much flavor to this. It's gonna be amazing. So this short rib is prime grade beef. This is the kind of stuff that you get at a high quality restaurant. You're not gonna find this at your local grocery store. So there's a lot of ways to prepare a boneless short rib. One of my favorite ways is to braise it. Listen, this is the ultimate comfort food. All this fat, all this marbling, that's gonna equal flavor. When this renders down in the braising liquid, it's gonna come out so decadent, you're gonna wanna get this on a plate as soon as possible. This is gonna come out amazing. So for starters, we're just gonna brown the short ribs. We just wanna get some crust, some color on it. We're gonna hit it on all sides, and then we're gonna get it out of the pan and into a plate to rest. Now we'll start preparing the braising liquid. Let's start by adding the vegetables to the pan. Now we're gonna pour in some red wine and beef broth. Now that that's reduced by about half, we're gonna add some tomato paste and some fresh herbs. Now we're gonna put the short ribs back into the pot. We're gonna cover it with a tight lid and get it into the oven. We're gonna cook it at 350 until it's nice and tender, maybe an hour or two. All right, let's get a look, see how we did. Wow, the short rib looks real good. It's so fragrant. And there you have it. Braised boneless short rib from Flannery Beef. Let's see what Dan and the guys think.
Blowfish. And then we ran into the guys from the band Live. And I don't think the lead singer Ed really cared about me too much. This is plating. Todd, you shouldn't be eating after
no.
what? No, that was a bad segment.
Our mics are all on.
My mic is on.
My mic is on. Is your mic on?
Whose mic is on?
So you even.
So wait, do we want Todd's mic on or off? Be consistent.
Our mics are on.
Andrew's bailing you out.
Very meta.
Polenta. That's what made me think of the band Live, because they do the placenta falls to the floor.
That's not necessary.
Is that a bad band name, Live? Or
Yeah,
is it good?
because I thought it was Live. And isn't that album Throwing Copper?
That album had a real thing.
Oh, it was a big deal.
Yeah, good year. What are we eating here, by the way?
This is boneless short ribs from Flannery.
Sounds good.
And they kicked ass this year with the meat that they sent here.
Yeah, it's been pretty great.
They kicked ass. That ribeye that we had a couple weeks ago, it was that thick. And we got a ribeye from another store and brought in what they...
Oh, the side-by-side?
Yes. It wasn't fair.
Yeah.
It's like Fritzy's arms compared to my arms.
Oh.
That's not fair.
Promo code Dan, 20% off, FlanneryBeef.com. 4th of July, right around the corner, but even if you can't get it in time for that, we're back on radio. All righty. Close up shop here. What an interesting day. You know, we had a little bit of fun with Jeremy Pruitt, the Tennessee head coach, after he was on, just because it was not a very entertaining interview. And he was maybe being a little overly cautious given what's going on. But I don't know. The one thing that stood out, believe it or not, was not the awkward part of the interview. It was that he said 0 players had tested positive for the virus at Tennessee. I find that hard to believe. If I just play the odds here, the percentages are around 5%. That's what you would expect, I think, for most of these schools. And look, maybe not comfortable telling you anything about that, but LSU, quite a few players, over 30. You got Alabama. So I don't know. Clemson, 0. That was the headline I took out of that. Lisa in California is joining us. Hi, Lisa. What's on your mind?
Hi, Dan. I am a very long time pre-COVID listener, first-time caller.
Thank you.
5'3", 127. I completely disagree with you. The best purchase ever on the disco ball, it should definitely be the Todd curtain.
Oh, the Fritzy curtain?
Correct.
You love that.
I do. I love it.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that, Lisa. That's very nice. Another satisfied customer of not seeing you on TV.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, there you go.
Again.
Todd's getting...
What did I do this time? Was testing it out?
No, you
I'm not supposed to talk while this thing is a silence.
Curtains foiled again. No, you interrupted Marv Albert, and then you say that you interrupted Marv Albert, and you kept your microphone on. How did that sound?
79 is the new 78. You realize that?
Todd.
So,
I had my mic.
I'll be watching it. I hope it gets on.
And here's Marv going, and so I'll be watching the next time that I moving on.
When you said Todd, I thought that you were encouraging me to say something back to you there.
No.
That's how I took that. I obviously misread that when you said Todd. I was like, oh, this is, I guess, become a little bit that I just screwed up. So I'm
I was scolding you.
Back to you.
I was scolding you that you left your microphone on, and then...
But then I was going to leave you hanging. If you said Todd, and then I didn't respond to that.
79 is the new 78. You realize
Todd.
So,
I had my mic.
Yeah,
Todd. Do we have, when Bill Hader was on, do we have that clip where Todd left his microphone on when Bill Hader was imitating Keith Morrison?
The guy, he shot me. Shot you a dirty look? No. He shot me with a gun.
Normally,
it's embarrassing.
Normally, your mics are off during the interviews. And then once the interview is over, then you can join in. But during the interview, it's usually my voice.
It's a big no-no, and I broke a major rule there. Unintentional.
But, did you have a good day today?
I thought I had a decent day today.
Did you have a good day today is what I asked.
I think I had a good day today.
Okay.
I don't think I had what looked like it was going to be a great day turned out to be a slightly above average day.
Yes.
Paul said he's pitching a perfect game and gave up a double in the ninth.
I lost a perfect game. I lost a no-hitter. I lost a shutout. I lost a game.
But what a memory you made today. We're never going to forget it.
But isn't this the day that Andy Hawkins threw a no-hitter but didn't get credit for no-hitter?
I believe you are correct about that.
So you're Andy Hawkins.
I just stepped right into with Andy.
Wasn't he with, wasn't it Yankees or White Sox, something like that?
I think so.
All right. What did you learn? No, you don't get your microphone on. McLevin, what did you learn
If
today?
you leave your mic open by accident, just drop it. Don't explain it.
Seton, what'd you learn today?
The classic soundbite from the toddler.
Paulie, what'd you learn? What we learned brought to you by Traeger Wood-Fired Grill. Visit your local dealer. Head to TraegerGrills.com/DP show to get started. Thanks for the phone calls, emails, tweets, all of the support during this pandemic, and even those who listened and watched prior to it. We'll talk to you tomorrow. One more.